Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Yeah. What's
Hello.
up?
What
Good
up?
to see you, man. What's
We're
happening?
back, we're back.
We were just talking about eating pigeon. So I was in Europe and I had pigeon, and it's a red meat.
Wait, pigeon's a red meat.
Yeah, it's red, and they serve it very rare. Yeah.
Wait.
I know.
Wait. First of all, eating pigeon is it's different. But
Right.
you're telling me that it's red meat and
Yeah.
they serve it rare.
Yeah, it's rare. Well,
I
there's
need
quite
more
a,
details.
I know. I was a little stunned too when the chef basically he brought us out food. Right, we didn't order off the menu. He just brought us out this food, and when the pigeon came,
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it looks red, man. Like it looks almost like you're eating a piece of steak.
It's like before you prep it, you know? Like this is not what I would expect it being, like getting served this.
Well, there's a bunch of different birds that have red meat, like ostrich. Ostrich is red meat.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I used to get ostrich burgers at Fuddruckers. I think Fuddruckers went under, unfortunately.
You know what? I
Fuddruck-
think I did have an ostrich burger at Fuddruckers like years ago.
Yeah.
Now that I think about
It's
it.
the shit. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So wait, tell me more about this. What's the word again? How do you say?
Squab.
Squab.
That's what they call it. They
Okay,
call it
so
squab. But this
How do
guy
they
just
say-
said it
there's
was
like
pigeon.
the breast. It's like pigeon breast.
Yeah, it's
like,
just pigeon breast. It's like a red meat.
it does look kind of juicy, huh? Like when you see a pigeon,
Yeah.
they're pretty like they're pretty jacked. So I'd imagine it's a good
Well,
cutlet.
this conversation started off air because that's what it looks like.
No, that's the ribeye of the sky.
Oh,
That
yeah,
was
okay,
the
that's sandhill
sandhill
crane. Now look at that. Doesn't that look like beef?
Yeah, it looks like beef.
They call them ribeyes in the sky. That's sandhill cranes.
Wow,
It's delicious,
That's
apparently. I've never
crazy.
had it, but it's supposed to be insanely delicious.
Wow.
Yeah, they
okay.
hunt them in Texas. That's a big one in Texas.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so we were talking about animals that have been modified. Like we were looking at Carl, and we were like, how crazy is it that a human over thousands of years, altered by select breeding, he created that thing? It's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I mean, since we're on the topic, this is kind of weird. There was one night I was going down this crazy like YouTube spiral, and there was some guy who was just making creations. Like he used human. He was just cross-fertilizing shit.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it was the craziest thing ever. I don't know.
Chimeras, right?
I don't know
So-
what the hell you call it, but
so-
he was like making these creatures, and then they were like living in these jars, and then it would fast forward like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and they're growing, and one of them had this like crazy little eye, and it was the weirdest shit I've ever seen, which then led me down going in another spiral where it's like apparently there's people around the world who will like do like breed like goat mixed with like fucking human, and like it's just weird, man. There's a whole other
I'm not
world out there.
surprised.
There's a whole other world
Do you
out
know
there.
the Russians were trying to do that in World War I or World War II? Which World War was it? So the Russians were trying to make a hybrid human/chimpanzee. And the idea was you get a super violent psycho human and you don't have to worry about Russians dying. You got this fucking creation because Russians were dying by the millions. I mean,
Yeah.
World War I and World War II were
It would have
fucking
been World War One.
World War One, unbelievably brutal. So hybridization of animals is famous for controversial attempts to create a human-ape hybrid by inseminating 3 female chimpanzees with human sperm.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, bro, they were trying wild shit. They were trying to make something so that they could send it off to war.
Do we have? Did they succeed?
We don't know.
We don't know.
That's
See,
the
that's
thing.
the
It's
crazy
like,
thing. Where are these test things going? Where are the test subjects? Like what the hell happened?
Well, listen. I think we both agree for sure. There's a clone out there in the world, right?
There has to be
It
something.
has to be, right?
Yeah,
They must have tried that.
Yeah.
They've done it with sheep. They do it. You can get your dog cloned. You can get Carl cloned.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it, JJ. No
Yeah,
hesitation.
please. If you get Carl
Let's do
cloned,
it.
I want version 2 because Carl's just
Might be
amazing.
expensive clones.
Yeah, they're very expensive, right? Isn't it like it's like 25 grand? I
That's how
think.
much I would sell them for.
Oh yeah. Oh, 'cause Carl's be worth some money, but I think it's a lot of money, but they can do it. But I mean, the whole Dolly the sheep thing, like when that was the first animal they cloned. I think there was a bunch of failed attempts. So what is the odds that it comes out exactly like your dog. It might be all fucked up. It might be psychotic. It might have no soul.
You don't know.
Yeah, right?
It may look like your dog, but who knows what the hell's
but
going
like be
on.
real creepy. Like fucking chew on wires and fucking.
It's like the very dark, like satanic version of your dog or
Like
something.
Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember Pet Cemetery?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you bury the pet. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
pet comes back, but now it's still kind of your pet, but now it's evil.
Oh, fuck that. No, just thinking about that, it freaks me out. But I think that I don't know how I went down that spiral, but
Oh, you can go down some YouTube rabbit holes, man.
yeah, dude.
I've gone down some serious YouTube rabbit holes.
yeah,
I spent like 4 hours once researching this theory about Neanderthals. That this guy, there's one dude that thought that Neanderthals, we have this idea of Neanderthals that they look just like us.
Okay.
And he thinks no. He thinks they probably look more like gorillas, and they probably were covered in hair, and they were probably able to see at night, and they were probably super violent, and they might have hunted us. So he had this whole theory about like these super predator, chimpanzee-looking Neanderthals.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, crazy, dude.
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
but most likely not correct. Most people, the real anthropologists who have studied this stuff, like, no. We know some of them had red hair. But red hair could be like orangutans had red hair,
Yep.
but they had giant eyeballs, and they were just very different than us. But close enough that we interbred with them.
Yeah, I got to see this. I mean, like this type of stuff's super interesting. Like it's hard for me to get into like fantasy books and stuff like that, but like YouTube videos on like this Neanderthal like kind of theory or whatever.
I've spent so much time just going down rabbit holes.
brain ticklers.
Yeah, I don't know if it's made me a better person.
It just fucks up your thought process, you're right? You're just like driving down the street and then have this random thought about
It'll make for good conversation. I always have like things that I could pull up. Did you know?
Yeah.
Because there's always stuff in there.
It's nice to have the friends that kind of are in the same little like
Right,
they're
right,
open to
right.
kind of some of the weird shit, so you can just have fun conversations.
And I have friends that
about
go too far. Like I'll call Eddie Bravo up and I'll just go, I gotta go. I can't
He's
take-
like, dude.
He's so deep. He's so deep in the CIA, MK Ultra, like the deepest of the deep.
Yeah.
He's in that shit all day long. And my friend Kurt Metzger, he's the worst. If I call him up, like he knows everything about every conspiracy that's ever happened, and he knows all the people that were involved, and he'll start rattling things off to you like, oh my God, you give me anxiety.
Yeah, it probably freaks you out. I can only
Yes.
imagine. You're like, okay, stop.
It's too much.
Yeah.
Especially today. It's just like, seems like the world could fucking explode at any minute.
Oh, at any minute, dude. What the hell are we living in? That's why I guess it's better to just kind of, you got to put a stop to like
Yeah.
what we consume, or
know.
like what information we want to like let into
I
our
know.
brains. Because Jesus,
There's a was it Avi Levinovich? Is that the guy that was on the podcast that talked about? He has a great phrase. He we have processed food is bad for you, ultra processed food. This is processed information,
yeah,
and that's the way he described it. I was like, oh yeah, it's like junk food for your brain. It's like you're eating snacks
man.
instead of like taking in a meal.
Yeah, that's so crazy. It reminds me. I don't know why. Kind of off subject, but on. The comedian Ronnie Chang.
Yes.
So he had a really, really funny like part in his most recent like stand-up bit, and he talks a lot about like social media and just like the internet and this country, everything. But he said one thing, he's like something about like Americans. He's like, it's very common, Americans like, I'll die for my country. I'll die. And he's like, how about you read a book for your country? He's like, how about that, And it was funny coming from
Ronnie's
him and the
funny,
tone.
man.
But I mean,
He's
like,
funny.
that's, I guess, what brought that up is like, processed information, right? We have a lot of fast, info. Somebody can divvy up a video really quick and put it out there, and it's the first thing we see, so we believe it, or like something can go viral and we've seen it a bunch of times, and then on to the next thing, and we're getting this information. But like it's a lot different than like, okay, let me pick up a book or like a couple things and actually read it and see if these things,
right,
align. And like, okay, now I can kind of formulate like, okay, this is closer to the truth.
An actual understanding, the history, how these things are figured out, how this is formulated, what led to that, instead of just the article or worse yet, a YouTube or TikTok video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how many people are educated by TikTok today?
Everybody.
That's a lot. I
Everybody.
really firmly believe that it's like shifting the way people think about things in a negative direction.
Yeah.
I used to poo-poo it. I used to think, the algorithm, whatever. But now I'm like, oh, it's definitely fucking up the country, 100%. And I think China's doing it on purpose. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I definitely don't have the like capacity to figure out if it's like the truth or not, but I did hear that. That's kind of crazy.
Well, their TikTok's very different than ours.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Like it's like all like
Positive.
science and like positive stuff and
Martial
like very
arts.
informational martial arts.
Yep. Science achievements,
And ours
athletic
is just
performance,
like
academics. Yeah.
ratchet. Like just the craziest stuff
Yeah, I've seen
ever.
more people get shot on Instagram Reels. Those little accounts I don't even follow.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like Instagram knows that I'm watching fucked up things, so they're showing me like failed carjacking attempts, all kinds of people get run over by trucks like every day. Man.
I tried to create. I created a TikTok like shortly because my wife was using it and they have like shopping or something on there. So I was like, oh, let me just download it really quick. So I downloaded it and like after the first day, it started feeding me these like these pages that were like homeless people in like Arizona and like California that were just like hooked on like fentanyl. And I was like, what the hell? And they get deep into their stories. Like some guys like interviewing them like, how long you been out here? And I'm sitting here watching this and like 20 minutes goes by and I'm like, why am I depressed? Like, why do I feel like the weight of the world is on my shoulders right now? And I realized like, holy shit, like I'm literally here in my living room watching like drug addicts on the street just like completely waste their lives away.
Meanwhile, you're living the life that they could only dream of. If you take a young guy before his life goes sideways and say, what do you want to do with it? It's like if I could just wave a magic wand, I would like to be a badass fighting in the UFC, all fucking jacked and young and strong, and one of the top contenders up and coming.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're depressed.
Yeah.
Looking at people that you don't even know.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
I think that's how they're doing it to us.
Oh, man.
Because no matter where you are, there's something that you can watch that'll freak you out.
That'll freak you out, bring you down, just like change your mindset, slow you down, whatever it is.
I was talking to Sugar Sean about that, and he was saying that just scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, stuff that doesn't have anything to do with him, he goes, I just get this like mild form of anxiety, this like mild case of, I'm like, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I don't know why. I mean, I think part of it for me is I know I'm wasting time. I know I should be doing other things. I'm fucking busy. I don't have time to be watching people get shot. But why am I watching it? I can't stop. I just keep fucking scrolling.
Yeah.
Especially if you're taking a shit.
Oh, that's the worst, dude.
I don't even know how to take a shit without I'm like
I take 1 hour shits now because of my fucking phone. Because of my phone. It's like I can't just get in there and do the business, dude. I gotta intentionally leave my phone outside to do what I'm there to do. But if I bring my phone in there, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap because if I don't have my phone in there, I'm like Ricky Bobby in Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm like, where's my phone?
Oh shit.
What percentage of people take a shit with their phone now? I want to know.
99.9 guys, men, 100%.
100%. It
Yeah.
has to be 100%.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
how I find out half the things that are going on in my life.
You know one thing that bugs the shit out of me though? If you're gonna take a shit in a public place, like for instance, like the PI, right? If I'm at the UFC PI, I just got done workout, whatever, I gotta take a shit. The guy next to me, turn your fucking phone down.
yeah.
Like, don't blast it. I don't want to
That's
hear what
ridiculous.
you're listening to. I'm trying to watch my shit too. You know? Like,
Yeah. Don't make me go in there with Bluetooth earbuds. Don't make me fucking listen to. That's when you know you're a degenerate. When you put your earpods in when you're taking a shit,
Oh, yeah.
like that's when you got a real problem.
Yeah, you're gone.
You've gone too far down the rabbit
gone.
hole.
You're
Have you
gone.
fucked around with any of that AR stuff? Those goggles?
Augmented reality.
Yeah.
Only like the MetaQuest. I haven't tried the Apple Vision Pros yet.
The MetaQuest
because I
is
know
dope.
as soon as I try the Vision Pro, it's over. I'm gonna be wearing those things like fucking. Because when the MetaQuest came out, like when I first had it, like he couldn't get me off the thing. I was
It's
like, oh
incredible.
shit! Like look around, playing these games, take it off. Like, oh my, wow, exhilarating. But yeah, I know if I were to get the Apple Vision Pro, it'd be over because there's just so many cool things.
What did I see recently? There was something that they were using AI. This woman was talking to her deceased daughter. Her daughter, young daughter, died, and AI had recreated her daughter. And with these goggles on, these VR goggles, she was having a conversation with her daughter. I was like, yo.
I like vaguely remember seeing
This
something like
isn't
that.
brand new, but I think it's this.
Oh yeah, this is it. This is so crazy.
That's in different.
This is so crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
She's seeing her deceased daughter and trying to touch her. Oh my god.
this is like what we were talking about the phone, right? Like just putting ourselves through like this depression and stuff. Like, dude, this is crazy.
This is like this. She can't even touch her, so she's like reaching out like she wants to touch her.
Yeah, and she's crying. Look
Oh
at that.
my God.
She's just
Well, the glove she has, she probably can feel some. This is
Yeah,
what we're seeing
probably.
with how they're showing it to the viewer.
Oh my god, that's so
oh
horrible.
man, look at that.
Oh,
I mean,
my
it
God.
probably there's maybe a version of it that feels good to her, you know, but like this could be
Oh god,
pretty bad.
God, that's so sad.
Oh my
Man,
yeah.
we're so close to the Matrix. We're so close.
We're in the Matrix, dude.
I think we might be. You know, Michael Ballas was saying it yesterday. He thinks it is a simulation. Elon said the chances of it not being a simulation are 1 in billions. Yeah, he thinks it's 100% a simulation.
There's too many things that there's too many coincidences, right? Like even I might sound like an idiot for saying something like this, but like
On this
think
podcast,
about
that's a normal thing, bro.
I mean, think about like stuff like The Simpsons, dude.
Right.
Like you see those like Simpsons theories and shit. It's like, come on, like this is too accurate.
Yeah, they called everything.
Like this is years ago. You know, like these episodes came out years ago. How are things like this aligning, or like how are these, you know, matching? It's weird.
It is
It's
really weird.
It's really weird.
It's weird, and why is us being in a simulation any stranger than reality itself? Just the universe itself. Just the fact that we are one planet of 9 in this one solar system that is one of hundreds of billions of solar systems in this galaxy, and that this galaxy is one of hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe. The whole thing is so crazy.
Yeah.
The idea that we're in some sort of a program, why is that more crazy? Like, everything about us is crazy. Subatomic particles are crazy. I mean, the way our body is designed is crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that you can make a Carl out of a wolf
Yeah.
is fucking crazy. All of it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, even listening to you right now, as you were kind of breaking down how pretty much insignificant we are, I just kind of like everything started zeroing in. I was like, oh no, get out of this thought. No,
I
but
think
you're absolutely
we
right.
are significant and insignificant at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think we're invaluable. I don't buy the thing like the people that are like really dark about it all and like, oh, life is meaningless. It's like, no, I don't think that's true.
No, I don't think that's meaningless at all.
No.
You know, like you said, there's an equal like significance, insignificance. Like when you look at the grand scheme of things, you zoom out, we're tiny. You can't even see us, you know, if you're from an airplane. You look down, you can't even see the humans, right?
Right.
So that makes us feel a little bit small, but like, I don't know, something about us inside, how we feel, how we perceive things, the power that we have in numbers, right? Like the intelligence that we have to create things like AI and
Yeah.
laser beams and all this stuff. Like, I mean, that's pretty damn significant in my opinion.
We're very significant. We're just a part of the whole thing.
Yeah.
The whole thing is just infinitely massive. And we think of ourselves as small because we're just one piece of it. But I think we're a critical piece of it. And I think what we are is like the purveyors of creativity. And I think creativity is like a thing that's in the universe that forces intelligent animals to make things. And I think we're like an antenna of this creativity, and then we put it out there. And then eventually we're going to leave this planet, and we're going to go to other planets and colonize and put that stuff out there in the world, and probably not even in the form that you and I are in right now.
Yeah.
It'll probably be some hybrid form.
Some hybrid form for
some
sure.
cyborg form.
There was an episode, I forgot the gentleman's name. Man, super, super intelligent guy, older guy. And he was talking about the different forms of like
Civilization.
Michio
Kaku.
Yes, man. How interesting was that?
Yes, yes.
You know,
do you know
like-
about Dyson spheres?
No.
So they believe, excuse me, this is just a theory, but they believe that when a civilization reaches an incredible level of technological proficiency, they're going to be able to develop these enormous structures that capture all the energy of a star.
Okay.
So literally surround the star with this structure. And they think they might have detected these structures in the universe now. Now, these structures are just theoretical,
Okay.
these Dyson spheres, but they believe through there's a thing called the James Webb Telescope.
Yep.
It's like the most power, you know about that. So this most powerful of space telescopes is now they're getting information that they think might indicate that these things could be a Dyson sphere. So you can find anything about that.
Huh.
So, what is this? So right here in our galaxy, what is that? Just a tic tac? See if there's an article. 60 Dyson sphere candidates. Look at that. Go up to the one that says candidates. Yeah. So this is from May. So they've found these things amongst there's these, I don't know how they detect why they think this is a Dyson sphere, but if it just makes sense that if civilization can go from being hunter-gatherers to being people that fly in airplanes and look at VR and enter into the Matrix like we're clearly doing, that if you just keep that going 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years, you're going to get to some insane level of technological ability.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like, you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So maybe we are just, like, kind of in the beginning stages of, like, you know, maybe there's humans elsewhere in the galaxies far, far, far away, like some Star Wars type shit, right? And we just haven't gotten there yet, but we're close. I mean, we're seeing how close we're getting with everything. With
That's what
technology.
Terrence Howard had a crazy theory about.
I have to watch that one. I've seen little clips, but I've got to.
They're both good. The first
Okay.
one's great because he just kind of goes kooky, and then the second one's great because Eric Weinstein, who's like a legitimate genius from Harvard, sort of settles him down and explains what's incorrect and what is correct. And some of the stuff is very correct, and some of the stuff is really fascinating. I mean, Terrence is clearly a genius, but he's like self-taught, and sometimes when you don't have peers correcting you and people
gotta have that.
Yeah, you have to have actual. It's like if a martial artist, like, I got this move, bro.
Yeah.
And you're like, try that shit on me. You know, right? It's
It works in the streets. It works on everybody. It's like, no, try it on me. Like,
But Terrence has this brilliant idea about that. What happens is you have a star, and then the particles that eject from the star are what creates these planets. And when the planets get to a certain distance from the star, when they develop that Goldilocks zone, he goes, they eventually develop people. And he thinks it's like peopling. It's like when you see like crops growing. Oh, it's the time of the year, the rain and the soil.
Yeah.
Crops are growing. And they're far away from the sun. They're peopling. And they're making people. And that this is what happens. And that as time passes and this society, if it survives, doesn't kill itself, gets further and further from the sun, it has to develop the technological ability to keep the planet hospitable. And then it goes even past that to the point where they develop these things like Dyson spheres, and they develop the ability to manipulate their environment, create black holes. They develop the ability essentially to create new universes.
Yeah.
Just ultimately over hundreds of millions of years or whatever it takes.
So he explained this, and then someone you said stepped in and kind of like.
He didn't correct.
Okay.
Because that's just a theory, and it's a fascinating theory. And you know, Terrence has a lot of like really interesting ideas, but that was one of the most interesting ones. That like every solar system, the reason why we see it here, and the reason why when they look at the Webb telescope, has found a bunch of these planets that are in the Goldilocks zone. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that this is just a normal occurrence.
Wow.
That these planets, as time goes on, our planet is getting further from the sun. And eventually the sun will burn out. But as time goes on, as our planet gets further and further from the sun, it's not going to be hospitable anymore. It's going to get to a point where it's like Mars. Mm-hmm. And Mars at one point in time was hospitable. They think Mars had water on it. Mars might have even had life on it. We don't know. But it could be billions and billions of years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so this theory is pretty wild that like all this stuff is just basically particles that eject from the sun and that eventually coalesce and form a sphere and form a planet. And initially these planets are like very close to the sun and they're, insanely hot.
Yeah.
But as they get further and further out, they reach that
Cooling
Goldilocks
down and
zone,
they're
and that's when they start
peopling.
developing life. And then ultimately develop a very highly intelligent form of life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do we know where this theory came from?
I think that's Terrence's theory. Terrence has 97 patents. What does that mean? I don't know. Because apparently people that have explained it to me say you can actually just file patents, and the people that are working in the office, they're not sophisticated enough to know, especially in various disciplines, as to whether or not what you're saying is real or actionable. It's like, is this something that you could really have a patent for? But they'll let you file for the patent.
Okay.
So it's one of those things. Yeah.
Wow.
But the idea that every solar system eventually has a planet that gets to that spot where it's just enough so it gets water, just enough so it has like all of the things that's necessary for life. And then, if you want to get really crazy, then you think that the planets that are farther and further out that have the super intelligent, ultra advanced species, what they do is they come back and they help us. They come back and then fucking pick up the pace, boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
yeah.
give us a little crashed UFO here and there. They give us a little this, give us a little that. Maybe even manipulate us. That's the ultimate theory. is
The
that they-
ultimate theory. I mean,
that
that
they
sounds kind of
manipulated
cool,
us.
right?
Well,
It's
just
almost
like
like-
Carl,
Yeah.
it looks very different than a fucking wolf, right? We look very different from all the people on the planet.
Yeah.
Like there's so many varieties of humans.
Yes.
We're very similar to dogs in that regard, in that we can all breed with each other, but yet we look very different. So you could take
okay.
like a golden retriever and they breed them with a poodle, or a Labrador, you make a Labradoodle,
Yeah.
but they're still dogs,
Yeah.
right? But they look very, very different.
Very
Well,
different.
that's only dogs that are like that, right? Like fish,
Yeah.
bass all look like bass.
Yeah.
Zebras look like zebras. There's something about us that's fucking real weird. And you can attribute it to climate and different environments to grow in. And some of those changes have to have taken place from that too, for sure. But if you buy into all this Anunnaki crazy shit,
Yeah.
the reason why we are so different than all the other primates is because they introduced their DNA.
To us.
Yes.
To,
and,
like, the
and
hu-
created
like, to-
us.
oh, wow.
And created us out of lower hominids. Right?
Yeah.
Which is so fun.
It's super cool. Yeah. I mean, like,
So fun to think if it's true.
I've looked at some of that stuff a little bit before, but I didn't allow myself to get too deep.
Yeah, you can get deep on that.
But yeah, definitely an interesting perspective and way to kind of break down humanity in a way.
Well, we're a mystery. We are the ones who've created this theory of evolution and the fossil record and all those things. But the thing that created it is the biggest mystery, the human brain. The human brain doubled in size over a period of 2 million years, and apparently it's the biggest mystery in the entire fossil record. They have no idea what happened.
Is it still growing or
Probably.
Yeah,
Probably,
like,
probably just growing slow. Another
like-
2 million years from now it might double again.
Yeah, I wonder if there's any record of I don't know, maybe just the slightest, record of okay, it's growing. It's
Right, I wonder.
For 500 years ago,
Right.
now has there been any
Right.
increase in
Yeah, if you
size?
get the average brain size of everybody today, how far back do we have really good records of brain size?
Yeah,
Got to go back to Kennedy's assassination.
probably nothing earlier than that. Nothing
I
earlier
mean,
than
I'm
that.
sure there's anatomy records that go further than that. I mean, they're probably, maybe the 30s or the 40s. When did they start studying the size and weights of human brains? I wonder.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
know, but it makes actually. I'm making notes right now. Terrence Howard. I got to look into this guy more. All I know is just
Terrence is fascinating.
his acting.
He's a great actor.
Yeah, super great.
He's a great actor, but I mean, I think he's even more interesting as a thinker. But the way he responded, I think, showed a lot of character. The way he responded to Eric Weinstein correcting him on stuff. Because he didn't, he kind of tried to argue his point, but he didn't get upset. He didn't get emotional about it. He didn't get attached to his ideas. It was It showed. He's a brilliant guy that doesn't have all of the information, but he's brilliant. But there's a giant difference between being a brilliant person and being a person that has information. There's a lot of brilliant people that don't have any information.
Yeah.
Which is why like there's people like I firmly believe that to be great at athletics, it takes a kind of intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not measuring it in an IQ, but to pretend that someone is like a Wayne Gretzky, that he's not some kind of a genius, or a Federer or an elite MMA fighter.
Yeah.
You have to be a kind of a genius.
Yeah.
Because you're navigating this most difficult of world where microsecond decisions get made, training, instinct, discipline, the will to carve out this existence, and all those things. You have to have a fucking truly, truly exceptional mind to be able to do those things.
I agree 100%. From anybody that's doing things at just like a really high level, or like they're doing things differently, or they're like the number 1, 2, and 3 in anything. In anything. Yeah, there's definitely a level.
If you're focusing at physics, well, everybody thinks you're a genius. But if you're focusing on hockey, people don't think you're a genius. Or if you're focusing on chess, maybe people think you're a genius. But if you're focusing on jiu-jitsu, maybe they don't think you're a genius.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But I think they're all geniuses.
Yeah,
I think
for sure.
I think every one of those people, if they had the physical capability, because obviously some people unfortunately have terrible genetics, and they're just never going to be an elite athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have the physical ability, that's only like a little tiny piece of it.
Yeah.
The real piece is the mental part of navigating, not just the training, but the improving, and then the ability to execute under pressure.
Under pressure, you gotta have the mental side to even drive the physical side, right? You can be a physical specimen. How I'm built, right? Like, but I know nothing about football, so it's not like I can just. I'd have to develop some type of brilliance or some type of.
You'd have to train.
I'd have to train. I'd have to think. I'd have to do all these things.
Like you look like you could play football.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I look like I can play football, but my mind's not wired that way, right? So I'd have to do a lot to make that happen.
And then obviously there's a lot of football players that look like a beast, but if you get them in a cage, they have no idea what to do.
Nothing, dude. They wouldn't be able to throw a punch.
We've seen it.
It's so crazy.
We've seen it. We've seen guys that they're badasses, but there's a difference between being a badass versus a trained fighter.
Yeah.
It's just a whole different world.
Yeah.
And it requires not just physical work. It requires a kind of brilliance. And just because Terrence doesn't have that information, he's a brilliant guy. If he had that information, he'd be even more brilliant. He'd be more relatable to all these other brilliant people.
That's really interesting, man. I want to look into Terrence Howard more, actually. Like, this is,
it's fun.
Yeah, I
It's
like
fun.
this. I want to explore like the side that you're explaining to me. I would have never really known, but I'd like to be inspired by that. I'd like to, just hear this guy out. And
Well, I had a reporter tell me about him years ago, and then I watched some YouTube videos of him, and one of them, he was at Oxford talking to them about mathematics.
see, like, that's so cool. What the hell?
Yeah, what the hell? Crazy. The whole thing was crazy. But it's just, we should be inspired. There's a lot of interesting people out there in this world. And
Yeah.
a lot of people that have some really great ways of looking at things and inspiring stories. When you think about like what they've done and how they've done it, it really fuels us all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're one of the reasons why we like sports when we're not even participating in it. It's because it's so inspirational.
Yeah.
If you watch a great fight and someone wins, you're like, oh my God, that was incredible. You leave, you're like energized.
Yeah. Or magic shows, comedy shows.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
anything.
dude. Honestly,
Pretty much anything.
Yeah. Anything that requires that stuff.
Yeah, you get energy from it. You really do. There's a type of energy that we humans get from each other. And I think that kind of energy that we get from each other doing things, that also, it's beneficial to us like evolutionarily, because I think it promotes more work. It promotes things getting done. It actually fuels things getting done.
So, like, similar to like the Are you watching the Olympics right now at all?
Bro, I watched that fucking transgender woman boxer box the female boxer. I'm like, what
I
the
didn't see that.
fuck are you people doing?
What?
Oh,
honestly,
dude.
I haven't seen much. Every bar or whatever, and anything that has a television right now. I've been traveling, so I see like Olympics is on everywhere,
Yeah.
right? But one thing that I've noticed, it's so weird. It seems like the Hunger Games. Like I see all these like crazy outfits and just
Yeah.
this like extravagant thing. I'm like, this is the Olympics now. Like, why is this? It's so
Yeah.
different now than what I remember it
Well,
being.
the Olympics is a giant scam. There's two things going on simultaneously, okay? You have the best athletes in the world participating in their disciplines. That's happening. And then on top of that, you have enormous amounts of money being made, and none of it's going to the athletes. It is a giant scam. So the kind of people that are putting together that ridiculous opening ceremony where you got a bunch of drag queens and the Last Supper and all that
Yeah, well,
wild
I didn't
shit,
understand that.
nobody understands it
Yeah.
because it's not made by athletes. It's not made by the Olympics. It's made by the people that are in charge of putting the Olympics out. So they're the ones who are reaping all the money and sucking all the cash out of these athletes.
Got it.
Not only do they do that, but then they'll go to places like Brazil. And so if it's going to be in Brazil, they build this fucking enormous place for it to participate in, all the different arenas where different people do their
roads.
thing. And then after that, nothing.
yeah,
So, and then
gone.
all the people there who are poor are like, hey, where the fuck did this money come from? And why didn't you just spend it on the community? Why did you do this?
Yeah.
Why'd you do this for volleyball? Like, is volleyball that fucking important that you didn't like use that money to like help people?
Yeah,
Bizarre.
that sucks.
The money they make is astronomical. The Olympics makes billions and billions of money in television revenue and advertising revenue, and they don't give any of it to the athletes.
So it just goes to like the
It goes to
Olympic
them.
committee.
They're just balling.
Wow.
Yeah, and these are the crazy people that are putting on the Last Supper with transsexuals. That's what they're doing.
Was it the Last Supper?
Yeah.
I saw it was something out like
Fuck, it was.
It said
That-
something like some Greek.
Nonsense. That was they tried to say that after the fact. The lady who was playing Jesus literally said she was Olympic Jesus. She was joking around about being Olympic Jesus because she was in the same position Jesus was in the Last Supper.
Yeah.
She had the halo behind her head. They're being artsy. They're
Yeah.
being fun. But it's not the place for it. It's,
Yeah. I mean,
you're
it's
pushing this weird agenda in this place where people are already getting fucked over, right? The whole Olympics is just people getting fucked over.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the best athletes in the world representing your country
Yeah.
at the highest level, that possibly humanly possible. For one, yeah, you should be getting compensated.
A shitload of money.
You know what I mean?
A
You should
shitload
be
of money.
getting compensated.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that there should be something that's more focused on the extravagance of like this moment of
Yes.
like the athletes
Yes.
waiting so long to be able to do this. And yeah, it should be more athlete focused for
Yeah,
sure.
they
and
just-
not so much like a show or
They
like
let
this,
some
like,
wacky gay
entertainment.
dude get a hold of the reins, and he decided to do this, and that's what it was. It's literally what it is. That's literally what it is. And he just decided to
Joe
have a
Rogan.
guy in a beard. But this is true. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the actual person that put it together. That is who he is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't even
Oh yeah,
know
they
that.
know who the guy is. I mean, we don't need to name him, but
Okay.
he's just getting enough hate as it is. But the whole
Wow.
thing's fucking completely insane. But my point is, the whole Olympics are insane. They're robbing people. They're robbing the athletes. No one is tuning in. There's not billions of people all over the world tuning in just to see a bunch of transsexuals pretend to be Jesus and the disciples. That's not why they're tuning in. They're tuning in to see who's going to win the 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
Who's going to win this? Who's going to win that? Who's going to win the sprints? Who's going to win whatever the fucking event is? Who's going to win boxing? That's what people are tuning in. And those people that have dedicated their entire lives to wrestle in the Olympic Games, they're not getting a fucking scratch of that.
That's so crazy.
It's nuts.
Oh man. So
It's nuts.
and there's nothing to do about like nobody can do anything about that.
It's just pure chaos. Well, at one point in time, there was probably no money in the Olympics because there was no television, right?
Okay, yeah.
So at one point in time, the Olympics was just about the best athletes in the world competing against the other best athletes in the world. It was for national pride. You bring a gold medal, you have a fucking parade when you get back home. It was great. And
Yeah.
there was probably I don't know what the original, like, The one where Hitler was in the 1936 Olympics and he's fucking jacked up on meth and he's rocking back and forth. You seen that one?
No, dude.
You never saw that?
No, you're putting me on so much game
I'm gonna
right
put you
now.
on this, bro.
You're putting me on so much.
Yo, I got a guy coming on tomorrow to actually talk about drugs in the Nazis, like all the crazy drugs that they were doing.
They had to be on drugs.
All kinds of stuff.
For
all
sure.
kinds of cocaine.
They were getting free drugs.
Meth.
Yeah,
they
they
were
were getting
doing
free drugs.
And there was no just say no back then. Everybody's like, what does this do? Keeps me up for days? Let's go.
Fuck
Fucking
yeah.
bang. Bang. So Hitler at the Munich Olympics is like, he's on meth and he's rocking back and forth. He's just amphetamine out of his fucking mind, just coked up, just rocking back and forth while everybody's watching the Olympics. Show it to him, Jamie.
Yeah, we need to see this.
We've played this like, look at him.
Oh,
Look
my
at him.
God.
Look at him rocking, dude. Look at him going. He's going.
Oh, what a
He's
maniac.
fucking going. That
What
dude
a
ruined.
maniac.
He ruined that mustache forever.
Yeah.
Just rocking back and forth. But
Wow.
back then, how many sports were in? Was that 36? 1936 or 38? 36. How many sports were in the 1936 Munich Olympics? Because now there's synchronized
everything.
swimming and rhythmic
Some
gymnastics.
type of
and-
shooting.
Yeah, there's decathlons.
They always have, I don't know when it started, but there's only a certain number of events. So if they like just put a new one in, they got to take something out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's
But
why they
that-
lost wrestling a few years ago, and everybody got mad because they added like skateboarding or surfing or something like that.
Is that always been the case?
Yeah,
From the beginning?
Not since there was only like 10 games to start with. I'm trying.
How many events were in the 1936 Olympics,
I've been
though?
looking.
Because I know they might have put a cap on them in the future. I don't know if they had a cap on it back then. But my point is, back then, like in the Jesse Owens days, when Muhammad Ali won the gold medal, like those guys weren't doing that for money. For Ali, it was like a way that he could transfer into professional boxing. And, like with Meldrick Taylor and Pernell Whitaker, those guys got fast-tracked. Mark Breland, all the Evander Holyfield, all those guys who medaled.
The venues for the events they had, so they had a lot of going on.
So they have a lot of stuff, but not as much as they have now.
I don't know.
I wonder.
It's
See if you can find how many more events are there in 2024 than there were in 1936. We'll see if they say that. But the point is, like, everybody who did the Olympics before television, they just did it for national pride, just like winning the nationals in wrestling.
Yeah. Of course.
You do it just for the glory of it.
There's 32 sports.
329 events and
29
32
events.
sports, including 28 core Olympic sports contested in 2016, 2020. And then what did it used to be in like 1936? 129 events,
Wow.
25 disciplines. So it's slightly less.
Gotta love the AI overview, right?
Nuts.
Just
Nuts.
quick.
Instantly. Give
Just
you all the
quick.
things.
All the things.
The Olympics were often considered controversial because they were held to showcase the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler's theories of Aryan supremacy. All jacked up on coke. Fucking we're
Yeah.
the best.
Oh
We're
my
the
God.
fucking best.
What a fucking maniac.
Yeah,
Wow.
nuts. So my point is, back then, there was no television revenue. There was no one was making billions and billions and billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So the Olympics started with, a very pure intention.
Yeah.
The pure intention of just, winning, being the best.
Be the best from your
But
country.
somewhere along the line, it became this fucking enormous business, and the athletes never got cut in.
And no one's ever spoken up about it, have they?
What can they do? They don't have any power. No one
Yeah,
has any
that's-
power.
Yeah, that's true.
The
I mean,
TV networks don't want to change it. They're like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
Everybody's
yeah.
like, shut the fuck up.
This is getting us
Because they're
views.
just stealing.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just stealing money. Imagine if that was the case with the NBA or the NFL or UFC. Imagine if the athletes got zero money and everybody else is driving around in Rolls Royces and living in
All the-
mansions. It would be crazy.
It'd be super crazy.
Yeah, you guys are fighting for glory.
Yeah.
You're not fighting
Only
for
glory.
This is not about money.
You represent your country.
We've done
your
studies,
state.
and it shows that when people fight for money, they don't fight that hard.
Yeah.
So, what? That's the Olympics. They're boxing for $0. They're punching each other in the face as hard as they can for $0.
glory. For
And this
glory.
woman today got punched in the face by a man.
Damn.
Yeah. They let a transgender, there's apparently at least two transgender boxers that are fighting in women's boxing. What the fuck?
I don't understand.
You can't understand because you're not retarded. There has to be something wrong with you to understand. To think that makes sense, and all you have to do is say you're a woman. No, but you're not, though. I say I'm a werewolf, but when the moon comes out, I stay a person.
Yeah, I mean, like,
okay, this is not real.
I want to understand the from their part, and their reasoning. Like,
because you're a nice guy. You want to think that there's some part of this, like there's probably some sort of a reason. If they explain it to me, like, oh, I see your perspective.
Yeah, I want to see the perspective.
There's no perspective. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Because that perspective would gray the line to like, well, why not just let all men compete in women's sports? Well, men would dominate, and that's why you have Title IX. There's a reason why men and women's sports are separated. Because it's not fair.
Yeah, it's not fair.
There's a reason why the UFC has weight classes. You're not fighting Brandon Moreno.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's not fair.
Yeah.
Right? All these things are put in place to make things as fair as possible. Weight classes, gender distinctions.
This article says they're not transgender.
What are you talking about?
That's what this says.
They may be intersex? Wait a minute. Is this today?
This is about them, yeah.
July 30th.
That's today.
But there is an athlete that they were saying was a male athlete that was Riley Gaines posted it on her Instagram.
It says they failed test that came back, testosterone tests, elevated testosterone.
What does that mean? So they took testosterone? Is it exogenous? Why are they calling this person transgender? Are they female to male? Like they're trying to transition to male? Is that what they're saying?
I don't know.
What? Okay.
What article is this?
From Outsports.
Outsports. What is Outsports?
Well, I mean, I go to somewhere else.
But hold on.
it's
What
just
is
the first place.
Outsports? What is that? What is the...
Probably LGBT.
Yeah, it's LGBTQ. Yeah, it is. So this might be biased. Google transgender boxer.
Olympic
And what does it
trans
say?
boxer,
Olympic
that's
trans
exactly
boxers.
Where I started it. So there are previously
They will fight in
banned from
Paris.
Women's events. But
Yeah,
it's
but here it
because of
said, this
elevated
is the person. Algeria's Inane Keel, I don't know how to say that, and Taiwan's Lin Yu Ting were disqualified from God, these pop-ups. Disqualified from last year's Women's World Boxing Championships after failing gender eligibility tests. Okay, that means they're transgender, Jamie. That Outsports is a biased website. It's unfortunately it's kind of propaganda about this kind of stuff.
Man, I don't. All right.
Scroll it up. Scroll it up again. So it says, yeah, the person has the XY chromosome. The boxer's chromosome test came back as XY. So that's a male.
It says it's alleged.
Well, at the time of the disqualifications, based on DNA tests, we identified a number of athletes who tried to trick their colleges into posing as women. The association's president, Umar Kremlev, told Russia's TASS news agency at the time, according to the results of the test, it was proved that they have XY chromosomes. Such athletes were excluded from competition. So I don't think Outsports is being honest about this particular thing, because there's outrage all over the place about this one particular person that they're talking there that did test for an XY chromosome. That's a man. I know it sounds horrible to misgender someone and all that good stuff. All that's great until you want to fight women or even compete against women. Let's just cut the shit.
Yeah,
Let's cut
like,
the shit.
When it comes to competition, I guess, there's a level of, like, it's just unfair, or it can be.
Also, we're denying sandbagging, right?
Yeah.
We both know what sandbagging is.
Yeah, for sure.
Sandbagging has always happened. You would get it in all sports. I remember when I was a kid, there was a kid that we were in Little League Baseball, and there was a kid that was 15. He was trying to say he was 13. This motherfucker threw heat. He threw heat. He had a crazy fastball, and everybody's like, how old is this fucking kid?
Little League
one
throwing
is a
like
little more
80,
clear.
89.
Oh, trans boxer Herji Bakadan aims for gold medal.
This is also from Outsports, though. So
Okay, so this one they're being honest about.
I mean, that's what I'm just saying.
Right, but they're not being honest about that other one. Competes in he competes in the women's boxing division. Wait a minute. What does that mean? Why are they saying he then?
This was the other
See,
one.
they're saying himself in his nation. So this is a trans female to male competing in women's boxing. Because they're saying him. So Out would not be calling this person a male if this person identified as female. But they're
In
competing
red.
in women's boxing. So that just means they're juicing up. They're just cyborging their way to the thing. He proudly proclaims he's never taking testosterone on his social media accounts. Okay, so he just says that he's a man? So he's transgender just by saying it. He's not doing any hormone replacement therapy. Knowing his strong stance against discrimination he faced during competition. So this is just a woman that says they're a man and competes with women. That's different. That's very different, especially if this person's not taking testosterone. That's very different. But the other one has XY chromosome. That's a boy. Congratulations.
There's a
You ever
lot,
saw-
man. Like that's a lot. That's a lot to take in. That's a lot for my brain to even process.
Well, it shouldn't be about
You know?
ideology. It should be about biology. You should have biologists determine whether or not someone's male or female. It shouldn't be like you just decide. Like this article was nonsense too, because you're saying he competes as in women's boxing. Well, why? Why would he compete in women's boxing?
Yeah.
If he thinks he's a man, go compete with the men.
Yeah, it's sad. It's and what I mean by that, like, it's sad because in today's times, like, it's hard to stay like politically correct,
Right.
right?
It's impossible.
It's like even now I'm like, how do I even talk about this?
I know.
You get what I mean?
know.
With like without getting
Yeah.
completely like, I don't know what to say. I don't
Right.
know what.
But that's
I don't know
the
what,
trick.
Yeah.
The trick is getting you so confused by it all that you can't even discuss it.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of allow
And
it
you
to
can- yeah,
happen.
and you just
and
allow
go,
it to
well, it's
happen.
not me. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you chewing on?
This is, try these. That's Lucy's. That's a
Lucy's.
breaker.
Breaker.
Those are good.
Espresso.
Yeah, you like. Ooh, it's good, man. The espresso's good. You'll like it.
Breaker.
Yeah, there's a
You
little
chew
thing
on
you
it?
crack it. Yeah, crack it, and it has a nice flavor. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
These are delicious.
not bad, right?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, probably banned from the Olympics. I wonder if nicotine's banned. So, speaking of which, we should probably get to your whole story.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. So, you were slated to fight. It was Jamal Hill, right?
Yeah.
And which was been a huge fight for you and for him. And explain the story. Explain in your words what happened.
Okay. Yeah. So I was scheduled to fight Jamal Hill, co-main event at UFC 303. At the time, it was when Connor was still, going to fight Chandler. So, in preparation leading up to that fight, I was, how do I even say this? I was working with a company who I like outsourced, like, to take care of my supplements and stuff. Like, hey, I don't have the time to necessarily like pick what's right for me. But these guys, I trusted them. They promised me.
And they did your blood work. They did everything.
Yeah, blood work, everything. I trusted them. I'd taken their stuff before, passed drug tests before, so there was nothing for me to, worry about. And then it was brought to my attention from the owner of the company. He was visiting my house and pointed out something that I was taking and shouldn't have been, but it was sent to me from their company. They mentioned, they sent a letter to the UFC. As soon as I took it, I had to, I called the UFC, man. I was like freaked out. I was like, what the hell? I didn't know.
So this stuff that you were taking was a part of like, it was a stack of things, or was it like?
So I want to get this correct,
right.
because this is the first time that I'm, speaking about this publicly. So the most simple way that I can put it is I was outsourcing my supplements. I was sent a blended supplement that I was not told that I should not take. And the company knew that I'm a UFC fighter, that I'm under drug testing protocol, like all this stuff. So they knew that. And someone from their company sent me something that I shouldn't have taken. And there was no like heads up, hey, this, no. It just came. And I continued to take my supplements as I'd been doing. And then when it was brought to my attention, like, hey, you shouldn't be taking this, that's when I immediately alerted the UFC and like, hey.
So this is DHEA.
DHEA.
correct?
And it wasn't even, it was in a blended supplement. So DHEA was inside of a vitamin type supplement that they sent me.
And we should also point out DHEA is not even performance enhancing. So it's not like you could get any kind of an advantage. It would help your health. It's kind
Yeah.
of stupid that it's illegal.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, when I looked at stuff from like the WADA list on why they banned it, it just doesn't really make any sense, you know? And for it to have any type of performance enhancing benefits, I'd have to take it for a long time and a lot of it, and it still wouldn't even probably do anything, you know.
Yeah, it's not a steroid. The point is, it's not like some crazy shit that you take and also like EPO or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't understand if you told them that this was an accident, given the understanding that this is not performance enhancing. Why did they suspend you?
Okay, so UFC, which is awesome. They've been so helpful, man. Like Donna and Jeff and even Hunter. Like, I'm so grateful for them. But they had to suspend me. They gave me a 2-month suspension because my test did come back positive. As soon as I told them, hey, I just tested on May 4th, so I haven't gotten the results back yet, but this is what I just found out I've been taking, so it's probably going to come up on this test, so keep a lookout. You like keep your eye out. So then they're like, okay, they like expedited my test. They called it like, hey, we need this test back immediately because I was booked to fight. And so I'm obviously, this is like, I'm panicking, dude. I'm like, fuck, like everything is, it could go down, and I fucking didn't do anything, you know?
Right.
And now the biggest moment of my life that I've been preparing for is in jeopardy. So UFC expedited the test. They come back and Donna calls me. She's like, okay, exactly, excuse me, exactly what you stated did show up on the test. So we have to issue you some type of suspension for a failed drug test. So they just gave me 2 months. But that's completely separate from the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what I'm in now. That's the situation.
So what are they trying to do?
So I'm still suspended under Nevada State, but they still haven't given me the time yet specifically. So yet today was supposed to be another hearing, but as far as I know right now, it's going to be somewhere 9 months or more.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
For DHEA.
For DHEA. And the
God,
crazy
that's
thing,
so crazy.
And so UFC is they're trying to help, and we're trying to get this, like, come on guys, like, I'm being penalized for self-reporting
something that's not even performance enhancing.
That's not even my fault.
Right.
You get what I mean? Like, I didn't intentionally do this.
Right.
So like, it's a really, really rough time right now, Joe. Like, it's hard for me to really kind of like keep it together, especially like you were saying, like I was scheduled to fight Jamal, and like I'm at a point in my career right now where, man, I feel like I'm really damn close, but now I don't know what the hell's going on because I'm being held up by all of this stuff.
Yeah, you are really damn close. You're really, really close. And every time we see you, you look better. And I was really looking forward to that fight because I think that's a giant test. You know, Jamal's a former champion.
Yes.
And he's going to be angry coming off of that loss to Pereira.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
So you're in limbo right now.
I'm in limbo, dude. It's
and how many months ago was 303?
303 was what was it? May.
Okay,
Yeah.
so here we're in July, and so you still don't have an answer yet. And if it's 9 months, would it be 9 months from the day?
9 months from the day.
Eligible in 6 months from now.
Yeah.
So you could maybe do December card.
No, 9 months. No, 9 months from the date of a positive test. I think that comes out. I think that comes out to February.
Oh
June,
wow.
July, August,
Okay.
September, October, November.
Okay.
January. Yeah. Like February, so I wouldn't be able to fight until next year.
God damn it.
Yeah, dude. And so like, it's
And you're so close in this
so close.
heated up division.
Things are moving. You know, guys are fighting. Dude, I mean, like, even to not fight this long, I mean, I don't think people have, or it does so much for me, man. Financially, like,
Yeah,
you know what
I'm
I mean?
sure.
Like, dude, I got a mortgage. Like,
Yeah.
like shit's. It's been such a huge thing on
Also, momentum.
momentum. Yeah, not fighting. I mean,
And you're
it's-
in your prime right now.
Yeah, dude. It's I when I even think about it, like it brings up so many different emotions, you know? Like I do my best to work through them, and I've been training my ass off, you know? I've tried to do everything that I can in this time to just stay prepared. And just even if I know that I'm gonna be fighting next year or something like that, like I'm just like, okay, I have to stay strong. I have to keep progressing.
Right.
I have to continue to be better every time.
Yeah.
You know, every fight.
Well, you were after the Anthony Smith fight. You're so hot right now. I mean, it's like on that level where like this guy might break through and become champion. You're in that range, you know.
Yeah. And that's where I'm headed. Like I'm so focused on whatever it takes to get to that championship, and that Jamal Hill fight was like the way that I was looking at, okay, this is my way to prove that I'm ready.
Yeah.
Hopefully that fight can get rescheduled, you know, because my biggest focus right now is, man, I want to fight Alex, man. I know that that's going to be a great fight that everyone is going to love.
Yeah.
And I know that
That's a striker's delight.
Yes. And I know that I have to, you know, like, yeah, I've got to fight Jamal, and maybe maybe like if that happens first, then that'll still keep me in that position of like talks of like, okay, then now you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows how many fights it's going to take now
Right.
for me to get that fight? But
Right.
that's the one to me in my mind that I'm like, that's the one that I want really
Well,
bad.
fortunately, unfortunately for him, Jamal got injured.
Yeah.
And so he had to pull out that fight too. That whole card, that fight switched so many
Crazy,
different
right?
times. Yeah. So when you think about, but I think Jamal had a knee injury, right?
Yeah, it looked like something pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, who knows what's going to happen with that? That could take him out for many months.
We don't know.
I don't know if he had surgery. What was the extent of Jamal's knee injury? I believe it was like a severe meniscus tear.
Yeah, something like that, and like a lot of fluid. It looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, have you had any knee issues?
Yeah. When I was 15, I broke my knee in the pit, hardcore pit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was moshing, going crazy. Some guy had some steel toe boots on, and he was just flinging around, and he boom kicked my knee and broke my tibia.
Oh, God.
At the top, bone was
Jesus
sticking out.
Christ.
Yeah, and then crazy thing, at the time I was on tour with the band that I was playing with, and we were close to like Mexico, and so we went to this like shitty hospital, like Southern California, like close to the border, and I was only 15, 16 at the time, something like that, and they were like, parents, insurance is like, I don't know, I don't have anything, but my leg is the size of a football right now, fix it. So they like shot me up with some type of drug and put a brace on me and gave me crutches, and they were like, peace. And I had to drive from Southern California to Vegas, which took us at the time 2 days because we had to make stops because I was in pain with a broken leg. Nothing had been done yet.
Oh, my God.
And we were young, so my friends would stop at like a Walgreens or something, get a bunch of cough medicine, Benadryl. Here, drink this. Here. You know, like just try to put me out because I'm in a
Right.
van with a broken leg.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, dude. It was crazy. So,
Oh
yeah,
my
I've
God.
broken, but nothing torn or anything like that.
But, so that healed up and you're good to go?
Yeah, I'm good now. Yeah.
It's kind of amazing when you think of how many fights you've had and all the kicking you do. You've had no knee injuries?
No.
Nothing? Wow.
No, dude. Yeah, thankfully. I mean, shit, it's been really good. I feel better now than I ever have. Like, everything's strong. This is great. This is a great time for me as far as just like athletic, like progression.
Well, dude, you look so good in that Anthony Smith fight.
Ah, thanks.
Dude.
I loved that fight, man. I loved that fight. That was one of my favorites. I watched it back.
That off speed when you hit him with that uppercut.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was
I started,
slick.
you know, the crazy thing, like, I'm glad you pointed that out. I don't know. I think I started that in the first or second round. That was something that I was like doing intentionally. The reason why that's my favorite fight is because from start to finish, I was 100% locked in, zeroed in. I still remember that fight now. as if it were yesterday. So like, you know, that hints to like I didn't finish him because I was just locked in. There was nothing like overly emotional. I was in there to eat, man.
Yeah, it seemed like
and
it.
I didn't feel emotional in that fight at all. Everything was just locked in strategy.
Yeah.
Pick my shots wisely.
It was a masterpiece.
Thanks, man.
And it's one of those fights where there's a certain time in a fighter's career where they make this breakthrough and you go, oh boy, he's right there.
Yeah.
Like they're right there. Where like, I want to see that guy fight all these other folks. I want to see that guy fight all these other killers in that division.
Yeah. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And
That's
that
where I'm at.
division is, you know, it's interesting because Alex is such a dominant champion, but there's not a lot of compelling challengers for him. You know, it's Ankalaev, who I think is going to be next. I think they're pretty much saying that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense.
And then Jan Blachowicz, of course, because his fight was pretty close with Alex. I think it was a split decision.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and he's, for whatever reason, not being considered. I think a lot of people looking past Blachowicz because he's older.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But you can't. I mean, you can't look past anybody, right? I mean, look how far Glover came.
Right.
You know, like, and I think, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, you can't overlook anybody.
Well, at the elite level.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many of those. Look, Blachowicz and Blachowicz and Ankalaev fought to a draw. Remember that fight?
Yep.
So those guys are like right there. Like there's so many. It's tightly contested fights in that division.
Yeah, I think I'm not like shitting on anybody or, you know, saying that like I deserve this over anybody. I'm excited, man. Like I just want to give the fans that fight. I want to give myself that fight. You know what I mean? Like just for the experience. Like I don't plan to shoot any takedowns on this guy. You know what I mean?
Right,
and I don't think he
right.
plans to shoot any takedowns on me.
No.
And I think that it's like, and there's really, when you have two guys that strike like we do and that are skilled and we like, you know, like we're thoughtful, we know everything's precise. It's not just we're not going in there and just slang and bang.
Like
you know?
Izzy says, button pushers.
Yeah, like,
button smashers.
it's not that. It's
Yeah.
two guys that would know, hey man, this could end at any moment.
Yeah.
It could end in the first, second, but it also could go 5 because the both of us are fucking warriors. So I just think like, and while he's still doing his best, you know, like while he's still at the peak is kind of like, because I'm doing my best and I'm getting to my peak and you get these two guys at the highest level and like, fuck, that's a sick fight.
That's what I'm
You know,
saying.
like that's a sick fight. It's not like me.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, so like hopefully he continues to win. Hopefully I'm not suspended for that long. And if I have to fight someone else in between, like, you know, in between then, okay, I understand. You know, if it's Jamal Hill, if he gets back and they book us a 5-rounder and then it's like, okay, who's, you know, winner of this can fight the champion. Okay, cool. I'm down for something like that, you know? But yeah, man,
They got to work that out. Who is the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission now?
Jeff Mullen?
Is it Jeff?
I think.
Jeff's a reasonable guy, very smart guy.
Seems like it.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much say he has on how things get sorted out,
Yeah.
but he's a martial artist too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's
A lot of those guys are, you know, I went. So I thought that I was supposed to have my hearing, I guess you want to call it, last month, and I showed up in person. Like, they allow public comments, like so the public can come in the beginning. So I came and I saw these guys, and I'm like, oh, I know all of you. Like I see, you know, in my mind, I thought it was like some crazy thing, you know, like, oh man, I have to go. And so I showed up. And I looked around the room, and everybody's sitting around this table, like all the board, and I was like, oh, I've seen every single last one of you at every fight.
Right.
So I felt more comfortable, and I kind of like let them know, like, hey, guys, I'm here. I think that my case is today, you know. And they were like, no, it's not until next month. And I was like, okay, well, hopefully you guys can kind of look into the facts and just see, like, this is not my fault.
Not only not your fault, but not going to help you in any way.
Yeah.
You took DHEA for a couple of months. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
It's not going to do a fucking...
Not even for a couple of months, a couple of days.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
A couple of days,
wow.
man. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way that's going to give any performance enhancement. I hate paperwork. It seems like logical heads would go, oh, clear him.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have to suspend it for 2 months, okay, 2 months is not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Let's get it right back in the hunt. Reschedule a fight. You know, we got so many big fights coming up. After the Sphere, there's Salt Lake City, which is, I think Salt Lake City is going to be Holloway and Ilia Topuria.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And then, of course.
Big Holloway fan here.
Yeah,
Shout
me
out
too.
Max Holloway.
God damn, man.
Yeah.
How about that Gaethje fight?
Ooh, I was there. I was there. It was crazy.
Ooh, it was crazy.
The way that, you know, when people do like the wave in crowds, this was like the fucking atomic bomb. Like, boom, dude. And then everyone, like, the last second, you know, like, it's crazy because it's like, okay, you're watching this fight and you're like, okay, cool, yeah, Max got this, you know, in the bag. And then Gaethje comes and he's swinging and it's just like, oh, okay. Like, everyone's still engaged, right? Because they're fighting. But then, like, as soon as that hit, boom.
Insane.
The entire arena, I was
Insane.
Getting chills just thinking about it, like being in that moment. That was sick.
It was so crazy.
Yeah.
And Max versus Topuria is going to be wild.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
That is a wild fight. Topuria is a fucking savage.
Yeah, he's a sav.
He's so savage. Which brings me to what I was going to say about Jamal. I'm very sad that he hurt his knee. You know, I certainly want him to get better, but I did not like him taking that fight with you so quickly after getting KO'd by Pereira.
No?
Nope. I don't like guys taking fights real quickly. I mean, I like it for you, but I don't like it for him. I don't think it's smart. I think you feel okay, but I don't think you're okay. And I think that's Volkanovski after he got KO'd by Islam, and then a couple months later he fights Ilia and gets knocked unconscious.
Yeah.
That's real, man. You know, you've been stopped before. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
It's like you're not quite right for a long time after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, when it happened and when they called me and told me that this was the situation, that was a lot of the fans' response, and then people that I know, they're like, dude, what's wrong with this guy? Like, why is he? And I'm like, honestly, my response to everybody was like, dude, that's none of my business.
Right.
It's up to him.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, whatever he chooses to do, that's on him.
Yep.
But I mean, it does. To me, it seems like him. I mean, he seems like someone who's very like, fuck it, headstrong. I'll do what I want. You know. Like, go
that's
after
him.
it. Like,
Definitely.
okay, cool, dude. Do you? I'm gonna continue to do me. And then it's really
Look, he
like,
might be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, he got clipped and dropped, and then he got beaten up when he was on the ground, and he stood right back up afterwards. Maybe he didn't get a concussion. Maybe he just got dinged. Who knows? But, like, guys have, like, Mirko Krokop in Pride, he fought Kevin Randleman, and he got KO'd bad, real bad. And then he fought again 25 days later.
What was the result of that one? Or who did he fight?
won.
Do you remember?
I forget. See if you find Mirko's record. But then he eventually fought Randleman again and then choked him.
Damn, I miss those. I miss those days.
Those days were
I remember
wild.
when like getting first introduced to MMA and seeing Krokop throw those high kicks.
Oh my god!
And just folding people.
Oh my god,
man.
bro! Oh my god!
Guy.
Folding people to
them
the body,
to
folding
the
people to
body.
the head, anywhere. So where does it say they go all the way back? Kevin Randleman. So he loses to Randleman, and he fights Kanehara, and then he fights Oyama, and then he fights Alex Emelianenko, and then he fights Josh Burnett, and then he gets a rematch with Kevin Randleman. But so look at the time. So April of 2004.
Holy April.
And then in
May. Fights in
May.
May, a month later.
A month later.
Then takes a month break, comes back in July.
Yeah, bro, they were fighting.
Then fights another month
Fights
out.
August, then again in October, and again in
and then-
December, and then
and
again
then
in February. He fights Mark Coleman. Holy shit,
dude,
man.
oh my God.
Those guys were getting after it. And
Krokop's
back
Hall
then,
of Famer, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
100% Hall of Famer. And back then, those guys weren't, they were, like, the whole thing of Pride back then, they didn't get called until like 2 weeks before the fight.
Crazy.
No one even knew who was on the card.
Didn't even know.
No, they all like it was all like everybody just had to train
Yeah,
and get
wasn't
ready.
it just like the guys were training and then they get a call and then it'd say like X amount of money and they're like, cool,
Yep.
we'll be there.
Yep.
And then show up.
And a lot of it you got paid in cash.
In cash, right?
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I'll go get that bag.
They had cornermen that were like taping cash bundles to their body.
Yeah. I did hear stories about that. I heard a lot of stories about that. Man, what a time.
It was a wild time.
It'd be cool if it was still kind of like that. Yeah, like
I
if they had
know.
leagues that were like that. That would be cool.
Well, it would be cool if there was an organization that was competing with the UFC at that level.
Yeah.
Like that Pride was at the time. Like Saitama Super Arena.
Yeah.
That Saitama Super Arena, I think, is 90,000 people. It was
Yep.
full.
Yeah.
Full for Pride.
Crazy.
And nuts. And then, you know, the scandals, the Yakuza, all that stuff, and it just kind of goes away. But at one point in time, they were bigger than the UFC. It was huge.
Yeah.
It was, and it was huge here too. Everybody watched it.
Yeah.
Especially martial artists. Everybody watched Nogueira when he was the champ, and Fedor when he was going through his prime over there.
Yeah, when I got into MMA, I think I watched more Pride than I did UFC.
Oh.
And at the time, it wasn't live, right? But like,
Right.
if I had to go buy a DVD from Zia Records or something, it's like, yeah, of course, I'm going to buy the Pride
Sometimes
ones.
it'd be a Pride event, and you'd have to stay offline because you'd find out the results, and they wouldn't air it for a while later, like
Oh, shit.
days, maybe even weeks later.
Yeah, that was before I wasn't even that deep into the game yet. I was just watching like DVDs and YouTube videos, I think.
And they would have them sometimes live, and it would be live in America, so you'd have to watch at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Were you one of those guys?
Yeah, I had a bunch of guys over. A bunch of guys from jiu-jitsu came over my house. We all watched it at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's pretty sick. Well, speaking of jiu-jitsu, I'm going to compete in World Masters.
Really?
Yeah.
When are you doing that?
It's the end of August in Vegas.
The only thing that makes me nervous about stuff like that is when
Injury?
a guy, yes,
Yeah.
a guy at your level
Yeah.
that's like right there with a shot at the title, like you're a fight or two away from a potential world championship fight.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna let some dude leg lock you?
It's not going to happen. So
You say that, but
no, it's not going to happen. I mean, like, so this is something that I'm trying to just do for myself to like, man, I've been training like a dog, and like
what belt do you know?
I'm purple. So I've been training like a dog. I
Gi?
feel good. Yeah.
Gi?
Gi.
Yeah.
And I just like, it's not that serious to me, right? It's not like I'm putting everything on the line to go win this thing. It's like, no, dude, I kind of just want to get in there and
Khalil, you're a savage. Once you get in there, you're going to be going all in. Why are you lying to me? Why are you staring me in the eye?
No.
You're a straight up killer. Why are you lying to me?
I am a killer, but I think it's a little bit different when it comes to like going in here and competing with jiu-jitsu. I think for me, the reason why I kind of made this decision is, and I mean it's $170 something bucks or whatever to register, right? Like I could just say at the last minute, like, nah, I'm not going to do it. But I think it's another way for me to get out and hang out with the fans, dude. Like I have a lot of fans in the jiu-jitsu community as well. And I have a lot of friends in that community, and I go to Worlds every year and hang out there, and sometimes I get the itch like, man, it'd be cool to just hop in here and have 3 matches, 4 matches in a day, like whatever. So that's kind of more my approach. I just want to get there, kind of connect with the people. Yeah, I'll throw on my gi, I'll compete, but I'm not going to get injured. If someone's got my leg, ankle lock, something like that, like, okay, maybe I'll tap.
It makes me think about Cub Swanson. Remember Cub Swanson blew out his ACL in a grappling competition?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he blew out his ACL in a grappling competition. I think it was no gi. And it was, when it was a couple of years back when Cub was, doing really well. And for sure, it slowed his momentum. He had to get surgery.
See, now you're like freaking me out. I mean, I thought about it, right? The thought of injury came
Dude,
up.
don't. I would tell you right now, don't do it.
Oh, fucking
It's not worth
Joe.
it.
Come on, Joe.
Listen, you probably will be fine. But if not,
then it's another.
You know how many videos people have sent me over the last week of dudes getting heel hooked where their leg breaks, snaps, like hard, loud cracks? I'll show you some.
No, dude, I hate that shit. Yeah, no, I don't want to know it.
The leg lock game right now is so high. It's so high level. And
but
I
are
don't
people
know,
leg locking in gi?
I don't know. I don't know what. I don't think you can like inside heel hook. There's just a bunch of things that the problem is the friction of the gi.
Yeah.
Creates this unnatural control.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'll give it more thought.
The other thing is it's like scrambles. Like in scrambles, knees blow out.
Yeah.
Because scrambles in the gym and scrambles in training are different.
Yeah. In competition.
Yeah. You're way more like you're gonna push 100% in competition.
Yeah, more explosive.
Yeah. Weird stuff happens.
Yeah, weird shit happens.
It's not worth it.
If a guy
Dude, you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right there. I would
Fuck.
say, fucking don't do it.
I was so sure until
Don't
I had this
do it.
conversation
Don't
with
please.
you.
If I can
Damn.
talk you out of doing it, please. Listen, imagine you do that, you blow out an ACL.
Yeah, then I'm an idiot.
Yeah, it makes no sense. For no reason.
Ah, fuck, Joe.
It's not worth it.
Okay.
I would not be snowboarding. I would not be doing anything.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
no nonsense. Don't
All
fuck
right.
around.
Well,
There's no reason for nonsense right now. You're right there, dude.
damn.
You're right there.
You guys heard it. Joe Rogan just talked me out of.
Thank God I
competing in
did.
Jiu-jitsu
I'm glad you got to
worlds.
listen to me.
Wow.
And a
Well,
lot of
'cause here's the
jiu-jitsu
thing.
guys like, oh, you fucking pussy. Shut up, Rogan, you fag.
No, but here's the thing. Like, I would hate to have this conversation with you and you be so like adamant and passionate about like, dude, don't do it. And then something did happen, and
Well, I'd hate to even try now because I put it in your head. I don't want that to be in your head. If you
Yeah.
want to do it, maybe I'll talk to you again and try to like
Shoot me a text.
You're gonna be fine, dude. You're awesome. I'm sure you'll be in complete control. These guys can't fuck with you. What purple belt's gonna be able to tap you?
yeah.
But
So I've been trying to stay, somewhat active. It's crazy that you say like snowboarding shit because I picked up skiing last year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super natural. Everything was good.
of course.
But thankfully I picked it up at the end of the winter, so I only got like 3 months in. But I did hit some black diamond runs in Whistler. One that was like, the guy told me, he's like, oh, this is the one that they did in the Olympics. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll try it.
Jesus.
I did really well. But outside of that, I mean, I play a lot of golf, dude.
Well, golf is a good one.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get hurt doing golf.
Not going to get her doing that,
No.
so I'll just stick to that.
Look at fucking Trump. He's 80 years old. He's out there playing golf.
What a maniac. Yeah, dude. How the hell is this guy? Yeah.
Gets shot in the ear. He's on the course the next day.
That's actually one thing that I found out about skiing too, because like here's the thing. Yeah, skiing, anything like that can be dangerous. But when I was out there, I didn't see anybody over the age of 40 on a snowboard.
Right.
But I saw guys 80 years old, my
Skiing.
father-in-law, skiing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I want to pick up things that I can do for a long time. I want to be active now, like ever since I made the change and became a fighter and all these things, and like my life's changed. And I want to stay active. I think that's very important to like stay active as long as you can. And so I picked up some hobbies because I am an extreme guy. Skiing can be an extreme sport,
Yeah.
but it can also
certainly
be
can.
it can also be very chill. So things like golf and skiing have been kind of.
I stopped skiing a couple years ago because I wiped out bad. And it was not my fault. I was going around a turn, and this lady didn't know how to ski, and she was kind of like sliding into the trail. And I had two decisions: either plow right into her and fuck this lady up,
Yeah.
or fall. And I chose to fall. And I didn't have much control over how I felt because it was like at the edge of the turn, and I slammed my head, the back of my head, bad. Definitely got a concussion, but also broke the top of my leg. It's called an insufficiency fracture.
Okay.
It's where the top of your shin hits your cartilage.
Okay.
It still fucks with me to this day. And
Top of your shin.
yeah,
hits your
like there's a
cartilage.
crack at the top of my shin.
Okay.
Like at the top of my tibia.
Oh, that's where I broke my leg.
Oh,
That's where I
really?
broke my knee.
Same spot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine was
the
not
ball
bad.
of
It
the
was just a
tibia.
crack. But I went to the doctor. I'm like, man, something's wrong. It's just like, it's not, this feels fucked up. And
Yeah.
they did the x-ray and everything. And, oh, you have a crack.
Shit.
You have a crack in your bone.
Yeah.
But there's nothing they can do about it. They said it'll be okay in 6 weeks. But I'm like, fuck skiing. I'm
Yeah.
done. And I was like, the rest of the day, I was out of it. I tried to get on the ski lift and I fell because I was so dizzy.
Really?
Like I tried to get up, and then I had a hard time getting back up. They had to help me up like an old man. I couldn't get up. I hit my head hard because I remember when my head hit, when I heard the bang of my head hit the packed snow. It was like icy snow. I remember thinking, "Oh, that's a concussion."
Yeah.
Like right away, I was like,
Yeah,
"Oh, that's
you
a
can
real
feel it.
That's a real concussion."
Yeah. If
This
you've
is-
taken
yeah.
blows to the head
Yeah.
before and things like that, you can feel like,
Yeah,
oh
like,
shit. That's
that
a
was like
concussion.
harder than I think I've ever been kicked in the head.
Yeah.
It was bang. It was like, oh fuck, man. And I was just dizzy the whole day. And I was
Damn.
thinking about going to the doctor for that, but I'm like, let me just see
Just
how I
chill.
deal
Yeah.
with life.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what they would do for me other than hospitalize me and monitor me.
Yeah.
But I knew I got rocked.
How has your training been going? What have you been doing?
Well,
training wise.
I still, like I said, my knee still fucks with me, and so that's kept me from doing jiu-jitsu because it's just I don't want to get injured. You know, I'm 56, and as you get older, injuries take fucking forever to come back from. And I've had a couple of problems with this knee. I've had surgery on it, and then one time I fucked up my MCL about when I was about to get on stage. So I was doing these shows with Dave Chappelle at Stubbs, which is
Okay.
in town. This is during the pandemic. And they're bringing me up to stage, and I'm turning the recorder on my phone as I'm walking up these cement stairs, and I wasn't paying attention because the stairs kind of turn, and I stubbed like the top of my foot as I was like stepping up, and I kind of heel hooked myself, and like hard, like painful.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I went on stage, and my leg was shaking from the pain.
Yeah.
And it looked like I was terrified to be up there. Like,
Oh, I'm so nervous.
the show went great. People probably didn't even notice if they weren't in the front row and see my leg shaking.
Yeah.
But
So you got this Netflix special thing coming up?
yeah, that's
Did you
Saturday
film it
night.
already?
No,
You're gonna
it's
film
live.
it. It's live.
It's live Saturday night.
Dude, I'm like, where do I find it? On Netflix?
It'll be on Netflix.
Okay.
Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that.
It's gonna be fun.
I was actually kind of looking at some stuff, like knowing, like a few weeks, a month in advance that I'd be here. I'm like, I want to see some of Joe Rogan's like comedy shit, but I couldn't find a lot of like recent
I'm gonna
stuff.
put some of it online today. I have a clip
Okay.
that Netflix sent today that I'll put online. But I haven't done a special in 6 years because I was supposed to do a special right when the pandemic broke out.
Okay.
So the pandemic broke out in March, and I was going to do a special in August, and then everything just shut down. I was
Got
like,
it.
oh, what the fuck? And
Okay.
and then I just came here, moved, bought a club, started building my own club.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah.
This Saturday, 9 o'clock.
Saturday,
9 o'clock Texas time, 7 o'clock Nevada time.
Okay. We're going to have a watch party at my house.
Whee! Should be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have some friends over. Oh, that'll be cool, man.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I've been liking comedy a little bit more lately. Like,
It's a good relief for a fighter.
yeah, I'm such a like serious guy, like fucking sensitive and serious. I take everything to heart, but I've noticed that like just opening up and like watching other guys do stand up and stuff, it's really fun. Like just being able to laugh about certain shit has been
Right.
really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, after all this shit happened, one of the first things I did, Ronnie Chang invited me out to his show.
Oh, that's
yeah, he was
cool.
in town. He does jujitsu. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Yeah, dude.
How long has he been doing it?
A few years now. I think he's a blue or purple belt.
Wow.
Pretty good. We trained at the PI. We rolled.
That's awesome.
Super cool. Had some good rounds. He filmed like this little thing that never got released. But yeah, that same day, he's like, "Hey, I'm having a show tonight in Vegas at the Venetian. Like, come by. I'd love to have you." And I went, and so cool, man. So
Want another
funny.
one of those?
Yeah, sure.
Ronnie's a good dude, man.
Yeah,
Very,
super
very,
cool.
very funny guy.
Fight fan.
I love his angry comedy.
Yeah, it's so good.
He's angry at everybody being so stupid.
So stupid. He's like his napkins part. Like he was like saying something about Americans, like just always so many fucking napkins, and like screens. It's funny. It's very relevant. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
No, he's a smart dude. It's a good time for comedy.
Yeah, it
Because
is.
also whenever the world is about to be on fire, when everything's going crazy everywhere you look, it's a good time for comedy because
Mm-hmm.
there's so much shit to talk about.
Yeah. Damn. So now I'm not gonna do jujitsu.
Don't do it.
Tournament.
Please don't do it. I wouldn't ski either. I tell you, don't ski. You're just too close.
Yeah.
You're too close. You're too
So
close to like one of the most important things that a combat sports athlete could ever possibly achieve. You're
Yeah.
so close. Like the UFC champion is the greatest fighter on earth. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. In that weight class, the UFC champion is the greatest fighter on earth. The only thing that you can contest that is with, okay, ONE FC has some elite fighters, Bellator has some elite fighters, PFL has some elite fighters. There's guys out there that are really elite that just so happen to have been signed by other organizations.
Yeah.
But MMA fighters at a championship level, ultimately are the best fighters on earth.
Yeah.
And you're that close.
Yeah. So just stay
Just
safe.
keep training, man.
Keep training.
Keep training, stay focused, keep improving. Every time I see you, you're better.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that I remember when you came back from Thailand, you fought Eric Anders.
Yeah. You
And
love
me-
that one. I love it. I love it.
Fuck.
Because when you bring me up on other podcasts and you talk about that, I'm like, fuck yeah. He still remembers that one.
Dude,
Yeah.
because I had seen you fight before and I knew you were good, but there was like something happened. It's like, what the fuck
Yeah.
happened? Like, this is just monumental. You see like numbers, like you went up like 30% or something crazy.
Yeah. And then even in that fight, there was like 75 low kicks landed, like things like that.
It was
yeah.
the smoothness to it too.
Yeah,
It was
there's-
the technique.
It changed me, dude. Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Like, Thailand was like one of the best things for me, and like my heart is still there. There's still a huge connection.
Did you go back?
I went back after the Smith fight, but I went back for just pure like, let me just get re-tapped in, and that I went there, and then that's where Mia and we got married there. Like we had a Thai ceremony. It was really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so we just kind of like, I hadn't been back since the pandemic, so we went back and just, I needed it, you know, because I'd been focused and just training.
Right,
So I was like, let me go back home, because it feels more home
That's
to me there
wild.
than anywhere else.
Well, a lot of people move there just because it's so cheap.
Have you seen it? I mean, everybody's there now, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's there now. So, yeah, it's been cool. I still stay active in that area home. I've been working on some new stuff. I'm very excited for whenever I do fight again. Cause I know it's a better version of me, man. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's like as I get older and just like I guess where I'm at in my life and the mental shift that I've made towards training and the dedication.
I think you've had some moments in the past where you weren't like fully locked in.
Yeah.
But you've always come back from those and been locked in the next fight.
Yeah.
You know, so I think now you realize like, hey, this is it. This is the push for glory.
I think I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but I've pretty much spent my entire career in the UFC. When I got into the Ultimate Fighter, I had 3 professional fights.
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I got into the Ultimate Fighter 3-0. I had all my fights in the RFA in the beginning, LFA now, at middleweight. And then Ultimate Fighter light heavyweight season comes up, and I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'll try out. I can make the weight. Made it, then got the contract. So all of my fights, besides the first 3, have been in the UFC. So like, yeah, there's been some crazy like ups and downs, but I feel like now I'm at a point where, yeah, I'm
That is a
locked in.
crazy place to develop.
Crazy place to develop.
Because so many guys are coming in now, the UFC, like 21 fights.
21 fights, 15-0.
Yep,
You know, like
yep.
they've built, you know, they've kind of built their style and they've gone through all the
Yes.
adversity before. Then they get to the big show. It's like, no,
Right.
dude, in a way, like I was kind of born in the big show. And
Yeah.
you know, like as soon as I got into it, Dana was hyped because of my Ultimate Fighter performances. So he starts throwing me on like main cards, you know, like,
Right,
you know,
right.
I'm on the big show. I'm fighting in arenas already, all this shit. And then the Gokhan Saki fight. And then, you know, like
That was a huge one.
Yeah, dude. So
That
it's-
was a huge one.
Yeah, so
Because
like,
Gokhan had so much hype coming in
he
from,
had so much,
you know,
from
Glory
yeah.
champion, K1.
Yeah.
Gokhan was a legend.
Yeah, so it's been kind of cool to finally get to that spot where like I feel good, you know, like I feel good. I'm confident in what I can do now. I know exactly where I'm going. I'm not like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and you know, I got one thing that I'm focused on, and that's being the champion.
Well, the work showed in the Anthony Smith fight. It really did. I mean, this trajectory that you're on showed that you're on a new level.
Yeah, dude. New level.
You look focused.
New
Yeah.
level for sure. And you know, one thing that was kind of crazy that helped me for the preparation of that fight, because he took it last minute, 10 days notice. I was scheduled to fight another guy. He got pneumonia like kind of the week before or something like that. But I did a lot of shooting for that camp. I went shooting, and that changed my perspective because I'm not a guns guy. And
Oh, it was like shooting at a range?
Yeah. And it just changed a lot.
In what way?
You know, we were talking about earlier how like brilliance and like physical ability and like mental. Yeah, I was never a gun guy. Like my dad was murdered, so like from a young age, I just kind of had this like weird relationship with guns. And yeah, I've had guns, yeah, whatever, pulled on me, blah, blah, blah. But when I made that decision to go and like actually learn from a guy who was a Navy SEAL, had a lot of expertise, had a really good way of like, we spent hours of him just like explaining to me certain things, you know, gun safety, blah, 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 different situations, his mentality, clearing buildings, blah, blah, blah. So I'm taking all this information in and processing it all. And then I finally start to shoot. And the power that I felt from the gun, you know, just like the accuracy that I felt from shooting an AR-15, the understanding of like different caliber of bullets, made me start to then formulate how I'm going to strike. Like, you know, like Man, I'm giving away secrets. Fuck it. So, even on the like the Anthony Smith fight, like my left hand, I'm like, okay, my left hand is 5.56. That's the ammunition for fucking,
AR.
for AR. So like that's how I was kind of processing everything. So every time I threw my left hand, I'm thinking of the sound and the feeling of the AR.
Really?
So it's like bang, bang, like
Wow.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, like feeling the target, whatever, just kind of like, okay, what do I feel like fucking loading? Okay, load it. Bang! Like I'm just thinking about every time I shot the gun, every time I shot the pistol. It's like, I was like,
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
so like it really like I was able to kind of pull from that experience and then bring it into my fight. But then also, not only that, I was also thinking about like the things that this guy was telling me when it came to like when they're in combat, when they're clearing buildings. And so like just emotionally, it's so crazy, dude. Before that fight, my strength and conditioning coach, Lorenzo, he's a big shooter guy, ex-military, but big on shooting, big on self-defense. And the day of the fight, like I'm obviously just in the zone and I'm sitting in the living room because I stay with him during camps. We just do it that way. So I'm like sitting in the living room, kind of just shaking back and forth because I have so much energy. And he knows that I've been putting in my experiences from shooting into my training. And it's crazy. I was sitting there, dude, and I had my hood on too, inside, and I'm just like rocking back and forth. And he comes and he just fucking sets an AR-15 right there on my lap.
Oh, wow.
And walks away.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm just like, just rocking back and forth. And I'm like, yeah. And then we drive to the Apex from the house, and then
Wow.
like so the whole time. And in my head, even as we're walking out, he's like 5.56, and I'm like, yeah, 5.56. And then in the first round, he's like 5.56, and I kept saying that in my head, 5.56, bang, 5.56.
Wow.
And just fucking, dude, it was crazy.
That's an interesting visualization tool
Yeah.
because you think about it, like that's really how you want your strikes to land. You want them to be almost instantaneous from the time you pull the trigger.
From the time you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Yep. And you like
What's your right hand?
right hand wasn't even a weapon. It was like I wasn't looking at it like that. It was kind of more like range.
Really?
Yeah, rangefinder. But I'd say that when I did throw the jab, it was probably everything for that like was 5.56. So even my jab, I threw some pretty clean jabs in there.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to land straight, accurate, and like fast. And so it wasn't like, shotgun. I'm not like, oh, boom, boom. No,
Right,
I'm thinking of the sound, the reaction,
Precision.
the precision,
Instantaneous.
instantaneous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not a lot of recoil.
Right.
Just like blap.
Yeah.
Sting, like just like that.
That's interesting to visualize it that way. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you see guys throwing punches at a lower level, and you see them like grit and swing, and everything's wide, and
Yeah.
hoping it lands.
Yeah. No, I was very intentional with every movement, every strike in that fight. So far, that's my favorite one. Before that, it was Eric Anders because it was like, oh, got to do some Muay Thai. But
Some new shit.
This one, I still got to throw some, Thai style type of stuff as soon as like my posture kind of relaxed. I remember one of the commentators like, oh, here comes the Thai, and I was like, okay. So that was cool. But I think the weapon kind of mentality for me was nice.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a great way to think about it, really.
Yeah.
It's a great way to visualize like the instantaneous response. Bam!
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's me, dude. Every time, every fight, something different. Like, that's the art side of me for martial arts.
right.
That's how I'm able to stay in this. That's how I'm able to grow. It's more than fighting. It's more than ego. It's more than my dick's bigger than yours. Like, I don't, like, that to me, that shit, fuck it. Like, that's why it's kind of hard for me, too, to, like, position myself in the right way and, like, build the fan base and, like, have the income and stuff like that I think, like, that I could potentially have.
Right.
I'm more of an artist because I'm using, I need it. Like,
Right.
I'm naturally an artist. So I need to find ways to, like, how do I express this? So every fight's different because I'm just trying to find a different way to express myself and, like, what I'm going through and how I'm feeling. You know what I mean?
That
And,
comes
like,
out in fights art really it is the right term when people call it martial arts, and and people have had arguments like that's not an art. It's an art to people who understand it, because when you watch a person land a beautiful combination, that's artwork.
Yeah.
That's like, ooh, it's pretty.
Like, oh, yeah.
Oh, it's pretty.
Yeah.
You watch someone land something good, it's like, that's pretty.
Yeah.
And
I don't see a lot of it as much anymore. I think that's why I've been watching fights for different reasons nowadays. Like I'm watching light heavyweights fight, I'm watching heavyweights fight. And I'm just trying to see like, okay, what's kind of the common theme? What's everybody kind of working on? But that's why I used to like to watch, Anderson and Lyoto and all these guys, because it was just a different time. They were bringing this kind of like fresh new look and,
yes,
this different thing versus.
Well, Anderson in particular, he was an artist.
Oh, yeah.
Like when he landed that front kick to Vitor's face, like that was a piece of art. Piece of art.
Beautiful.
And it's just the timing involved in that, and then just the expression, landing it, setting it up.
Yeah.
Have you thought about going to middleweight?
I have.
What do you walk around at?
Well, I mean, right now, like under 230, over 220. So I'm like, I float in between the 220, 230.
So you're not an enormous light heavyweight.
No. I'm probably one of the shorter ones. Yeah, for sure. And I thought about middleweight, but like I've done that DEXA scan thing at the PI, and my body with like just dense, like no water, just bone and muscle, it's 186.
Oh God! So you got to get to death's door.
Yeah. So I've done it like at the beginning of my career, and in the amateur days, I did fight at 185, but it was hell. And so now, like, I like to eat, man.
Yeah, and obviously you're doing great.
Yeah, and I like to train.
I think there should be way more weight classes. I really, really do.
Yeah.
I think there should be one every 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Minimum.
That'd be nice.
Look at boxing.
Yeah.
There's a reason why there's a 147 and a 154 and a 160. It's because there really is a difference between a legitimate, in their prime, 154 and a 160.
Yeah. For sure.
It's just, that's how it should be. And when you get a gap like 85 to 205, that's crazy. That's too big.
Yeah, that's a big gap.
It's too big.
That's a really big gap.
It's too big.
Yeah.
And then another 25 pounds. I mean, 205 to 265 is nuts.
Weight cutting it's trash, dude. I don't like it. I still like it. Okay, so I walk around 220, 230, blah, 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 but I still don't necessarily cut weight. Like, I make sure that I gradually go down. I keep my food consumption the same all the way through camp.
Really?
The only thing that changes is my intensity goes up, which causes my weight to go down.
Oh.
So I sit in the sauna 30 minutes maximum.
Oh, that's great.
To lose 1 pound.
So that's why you're so physically perfect when you're fighting.
Yeah, dude, I don't.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, 5 rounds for me, like, I feel like it's going to be nothing because I train
dehydrated.
year round at the weight. When I rehydrate, I'm back up to 225, blah, 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 where I'm used to carrying my weight.
Right.
So when I'm doing all my drills, when I'm running and when I'm jumping and when I'm doing all of the stuff that I'm doing to get better physically, that same person is the same person that's stepping in the cage. I hate the idea of, like, expecting yourself to perform at the highest level, but for the last 2 weeks or something, like, you're depleting, and then the last day before you expect to be at the height of physical performance, you're dehydrating your body and your brain and everything. That just doesn't make sense to me.
It should be illegal.
Like, it should be. I honestly, like, I don't fuck with cutting weight. It's just
that's great.
Like, I don't like it. I don't think that it gives anybody the advantage. I really don't. Like, a guy who's, I'm going to cut down to 155. Like, what do you walk around 190? You're fucking stupid. Like, it's like, yeah, you're going to be the bigger guy. Who cares? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you're also going to not be able to take shots as well.
You're not going to be able to take shots as well. Long term, like, if you really want to do this, if you really want to be doing this long term, it's not going to be good for you. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I can only imagine that, like, at, like, a smaller level, like, or like at a deeper level, it's probably bad for your body.
Do you think there's a reasonable way to stop weight cutting? Because when WME bought the UFC, I had a conversation with Ari, and I told him, you know what I would do? I was like, this is what I would do. If I was running the show, I'd get rid of weight cutting. I'd figure out a way. He's like, how? What would you do about the weight class? I go, blow them up. Blow them up. The stars are the most important thing anyway. No one's going to give a fuck if Alex Pereira is the champion at 225 or 210 or 205. No one gives a fuck.
Yeah.
He's the champion, right? We all know he's the champion. So let's find out what he actually weighs. What do you weigh when you're healthy? What do you weigh when you're healthy and lean like you do when you get down to 206 or 207 when right before you cut the last pound or two of weight? What do you weigh? Let's find that out, and that's what you should be fighting at. We should have adequate weight classes so that like you don't have an elite fighter that's starving himself to get to a lower weight class because he's really not big enough to compete at the 20 pounds above weight class.
Yeah.
And this is, I know that one instituted some sort of hydration testing.
Yeah, that's still bullshit.
Yeah. What do you hear about it?
So I can't give like an educated, like I don't have all the facts right now, but from what I've heard is that like it's from the fighters that I have like friends in one, they just say like it's bullshit. And there's also like ways around it. Like they can, for instance, like they test the hydration, right, in your urine to be able to be like, okay, if we detect that you're dehydrated, then that proves that you're cutting weight. But a lot of these guys will dehydrate and they'll cut weight and then they'll chug a bunch of water and just hold their piss. You get what I mean?
Right.
So like just so that when whatever, I don't know, it's really weird, but it doesn't seem to really
So there's
be
some
like,
shenanigans.
there's some shenanigans. I think that one thing that people that they could do as far as this weight cutting thing, just how they randomly test us. We don't know when USADA's coming or we don't know when anti-doping's coming. Weigh us too.
Yes.
And we have to be in between X amount. Give us like a 10-pound allowance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like you fight at 155, but when we came and tested you, you're 190.
When Alex fought Izzy, he weighed in at 85, and then he made it into the cage at 226.
226, yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Which is, it's crazy.
That's,
but that's
40 pounds,
that's
man.
so much depletion.
That's so crazy.
That's so crazy.
That's so crazy.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, he gained a lot of weight, but also like how much, let's look at the other side of that. How much did he deplete the day before he's supposed to fight Israel Adesanya, the heavyweight or the middleweight fucking champion?
And when Izzy knocked him out, maybe that had a factor.
I'm almost positive that a lot of these knockouts and shit do happen from weight cuts. I think so, man.
I think so too.
Yeah, and then like our ability to go X amount of rounds, blah blah blah. Like I think that it all plays a factor, man.
Especially with the inability to use IVs.
Yeah,
because they say that the brain takes the longest time to rehydrate. You rehydrate your body in 24 hours, but your brain takes like 48.
Yeah, they do a good job at like giving us all the stuff, you know, like all these liquids and things like that. Like they do their job. The UFC always does their job, but there can be some type of change made. Hopefully there is, you know.
No one is thinking about it at all. There's no attempts at all to do
just
it.
The culture.
Yeah.
It's just like people are just, okay, this is what we do. This is the culture.
I mean, it's happened that way for so long that they just have this in their head.
Yeah, why would they change it?
Yeah. I
Why would
just
they
think
change it?
there's a lot of things that could be done differently. And I think the hydration thing is a real big one. I think that's a giant one because it's so bad for the performance of the athletes because it's going to weaken you 100%.
Yeah.
Even if you're victorious, you look awesome, you look less awesome than you would look if you didn't have to dehydrate yourself 24 hours ago. Period.
Yeah.
Also more dangerous, also kidney problems, organs shut down. And the instances that I know that people have died from MMA, there was one in Russia where a guy died from a fight that apparently he had like some sort of a pre-existing condition. But I know of at least 2 guys who died in Brazil from weight cutting.
Wow. Yeah, we see it, right? We see these guys have to pull out the night before or whatever because or the day of.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is because of the weight cuts.
Speaking of hydration, try this, man.
What's this?
This is my drink.
Kill Cliff,
Kill Cliff.
Octane, CBD.
Yeah.
I have to read the ingredients.
I think it's okay. Dana takes it. Dana drinks it. It's legit. It's good. That's
This is
spicy
yours?
cherry. Yeah.
Your company?
Yeah. I'm one of the owners of the company, but this one I came up with, me and my friend Cam. This one's called Elk Blood.
Elk Blood, spicy cherry.
It's good.
Cheers.
But this is all, cheers. This is all legit, clean ingredients. And 25 milligrams of CBD.
That
Not
tastes
too
great.
sweet, right?
No, not too sweet
A
at
little
all.
spice to it.
Yeah.
I
Damn,
think
that's great.
if the UFC was going to do anything differently, that would be the first one that I would say. The second one that I would say,
Pay structure.
pay structure for sure.
I heard you talk about that before.
Yeah. They should get more money, 100%.
Or not.
I don't like the win bonus thing.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Like I think the win bonus thing is like,
I hate it.
it does suck. I did hear you talk about that. I forgot what episode. I think it was with Francis. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, man. It's pretty rough, you know, like
Especially with bad decisions.
yeah, it sucks. Like bad decisions, and then like you get half your money.
Crazy. Half.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Fuck, dude.
Half.
Yeah.
Especially
yeah.
a split decision. Half. That's nuts.
Yeah, like I'm grateful, whatever, for what I make, but I do think that it'd be a lot nicer to just not have to pay or fight for win and show. That's
The other thing that they need to do, and I really think this could be done, cover the tips of the fingers. There's no reason why these fingers need to be exposed.
Okay, so I've been testing. It's been pretty cool. I've been the guy testing all of the new gloves, like with Ember from the UFC. One of the slight changes that they've made is the padding in the glove provides a little bit more curvature towards the fingers. But yes, covering the fingers I think would be something that would prevent all the eye pokes. That's I think the eye poke right now is probably the scariest thing in MMA.
Yeah, I
Getting
agree.
poked in the eye.
Going blind.
I got poked the last camp actually preparing for Jamal Hill, and like it cut the entire eye, like top eyelid, and I was like, this is the scariest shit ever. Yeah, I think that should definitely be something
possible
addressed,
to
but
do.
it's not going to happen anytime soon because all these new gloves, like
I
the
know.
production.
I don't get it.
You know?
When they said they were going to have new gloves, they seem real similar to me. Trevor Whitman, in my opinion, has the best gloves.
The Onyx, huh?
Yeah, I think they're the best MMA gloves.
Yeah.
And they had some sort of there was some negotiation with Trevor, but he wanted more money than they were willing to give. Apparently, it was a lot of money. I don't know. But I think it should be different than that even. I think it should be like the Trevor Whitman gloves, but where the fingertips are, I think you cover it with just a piece of leather.
Just the leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, with like a little sliver, you can just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Because
goes
you can
in
still
there.
grapple.
Yes.
You just can't spread the fingers.
Exactly. Why would you spread
right?
the fingers
Like
anyway?
almost like mittens.
Exactly like mittens.
Yeah,
exactly like
but
mittens.
yeah, it's a piece of leather.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to hit someone with your knuckles, you still could.
Then you still have to worry about the thumb.
Yeah.
But that's going to cut down. Think about the percentage that it'll cut down on finger pokes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are this.
Yeah.
Right?
We don't see a lot of thumb.
So if it's this, but if it has that, then it's not going to go in the eye. If it's a cover. And the cover, like you never grapple like this.
Yeah.
You never close your fingers together, ever. Mm-hmm. So what would it prevent in grappling? Nothing. What would it prevent in striking? Nothing. But it would prevent eye pokes.
Yeah.
It seems like a pretty clear solution.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like anything, right? There's just a lot of just like politics, and yeah, I think that is one of the things that could have been changed. I don't know why or who at the round table was like.
Yeah, I don't know either.
We've heard all the time. We know that eye poking is a thing, but let's make the same glove and just do it, a little bit differently.
Well, it's better. Everybody says it's better.
Yeah, it's
but
better.
It's, not,
it's lighter.
It's not perfect. Is it lighter? How much?
It's lighter. It's 3.5.
Oh, half ounce?
Yeah, half ounce lighter. Wrist is a little bit different. Like the strap's different. The inside of the knuckle part here is padded now. So like if you do throw like a hook like that, it's like it kind of makes me want to punch like knife style.
Right,
You know
right,
what I
right,
mean?
right. Because your hand's more protected.
Yeah, hands more protected. You can feel the half ounce or like you can feel that.
Really?
You can feel the difference. I can at least.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a decent glove. The only thing that we kind of had some issues with in the beginning, if you guys saw in the Makhachev fight, the logo was coming off.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So I've been testing that and kind of just doing round after round of just like in the cage, rubbing it on the canvas, rubbing it on the cage, getting it wet, Vaseline, whatever, to just make sure that these logos don't come off, because we can't have that, right?
Right, right.
So,
And that's
yeah.
Yeah.
But overall,
They look cooler.
Yeah,
the gold
yeah.
ones look cool.
The gold ones, the
the world
contender
title
ones are
fights.
going to be really cool. Yeah, but the
Yeah.
gold ones are cool.
Oh, the gold ones are so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
been nice.
There
Yeah.
it is.
that's the new glove. See the contender one, the baby blue.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
It is
reminds
cool.
me of the Pride when they had the blue gloves.
The Pride gloves were great too.
Yeah,
the
Pride gloves.
Pride gloves also curved more.
Yeah.
They curved more, and you saw very few eye pokes in Pride.
Yeah. Who was that? What's that guy? Something with an I. Something. Yeah. They were good. They were good gloves. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Hopefully, probably 5 more years. I don't know how long it took them to change the glove.
I know it took a long ass time. I don't think they're going to do anything different, honestly. I think they're just going to keep it this way. But I mean, how many fights get stopped because of eye pokes? I mean, look, the rematch with Bilal Muhammad and Leon Edwards, they had to have a rematch because Bilal got eye poked in the first fight. Bad. Eye-poked. Real bad.
You know, one thing that I did want to mention, too, is I had this discussion with a friend. You know when these... remember, like, the Drew Dober fight and that cut?
Yeah.
And there was a fight before, too. Like, some guy, like, that eye was just, like, hanging. Like, the eyebrow was just hanging by a thread. One thing that would be cool is when these moments happen and when these doctors come in to check, obviously, as fighters, we're going to want to keep going, most of us, because we got to win and show money. We need that shit. We need that win money, right? But it'd be nice if they like brought, you know, a coach as well to be able to kind of help call the shots, not just the doctor. You get what I mean? Like, I think that having coaches in your corner is a very important thing for many reasons, right? They kind of keep us in line, give us advice, what we're doing, things that they see. But I think there are times, man, where like some people should have that coach that's like, dude, enough.
Right.
Enough.
Right.
Especially if you care about the longevity of the fighter.
There'll be other fights.
I don't think that there's enough coaches in the sport that are like showing this kind of level of like care or concern for their fighters. One thing that I appreciate about my coaches in my corner is they're like, dude, when you're done with this, we don't want you slurring.
Right.
We don't want you fucking drooling.
Right.
You know, we don't want you limping.
Right.
Like you got to get out of, like you got to be done with this healthy so that you can continue to live a normal life.
Right.
This isn't the only thing,
right.
You know? And I'm like, wow, that's a good perspective. So
like when you're done, you're in your 40s, right?
Yeah,
and
dude.
then you have...
Yeah.
If you're lucky, you got 60 more years of life.
Yeah. Keep your teeth. Keep, you know, like, fuck, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
You know, you don't have to be this fucking barbarian.
Right.
So I think that, like, for instance, like, if I had a cut like that, obviously I'm going to want to keep going, but that's a bad fucking cut. That's like moments away from like your eye is going to be exposed if you get punched one more time,
right?
Depending on your opponent. So like having like another person to kind of be able to come in and tell the fighter like, dude, look,
it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
Because we care about you and you need your money and like, but like, let me make this call.
Yeah.
Not the doctor or, you know what I mean? Or the coach can be like, hey, like, there's a minute left or blah, blah, blah. Tell the doctor we fucking got this. You know what I mean? Allow the coach to come in at that moment too. I think it would be like...
That makes sense.
But they're not medical professionals, and I know there's a lot of lines that, you know... Probably.
Yeah. Well, it's also, you go, different athletic commissions have different standards, right? Mm. New York is notoriously rough. They stop things quicker. Yeah. They stop weight cuts quicker. You know, New York has had a bunch of different issues with people cutting weight. That's where when Hamzat missed weight by 8 pounds, they stopped him from cutting weight.
Oh, was it the commission?
Was that New York? I don't know if that was New York. New York was definitely Max Holloway. When Max Holloway was supposed to fight Khabib, and I think the last minute, they pulled him out of the weight cut, and they said, you can't do it. Because Max wasn't supposed to be fighting at all. That was when Tony Ferguson blew his knee out.
Okay. Yeah. Damn, I didn't know it was the commission that like made that decision.
Yes, the commission made a decision, but that was the early days of the UFC being in Madison Square Garden as well.
Okay.
It was, you got to realize New York was so fucking corrupt.
Yeah.
They kept MMA out of New York forever. And then the guy who kept it out wound up going to jail for corruption.
Shocker.
Crazy. But that was a weight cut issue. Max was supposed to be fighting Khabib.
Wow.
Yeah, which would have been wild.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Especially now, watching Max now, and Max is another one. Like, people, because Max lost to Volkanovski, people just sort of wrote Max off and said, oh, Max passed his prime. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Max is better than ever.
Dude,
that last fight.
How do you think that we as UFC fighters should be able to like fight in like more like boxing or Muay Thai type shit, like outside of the UFC?
Well, it depends. If it's a guy like you, I would say no. You're too close.
Okay.
But if it's a guy who's like coming up in the UFC and he gets you're only fighting him once every 6 months anyway, and he gets a possible Muay Thai fight, If that guy blows his knee out, that's on him.
Yeah.
You know, that's his decision. If he wants to stay active and do these other things as well, sure.
Yeah.
But once you become like super close, and also super valuable, like you're a star now.
Yeah,
and in the
10,
UFC, there's only a few guys like you that are not just stars, but win in spectacular fashion, right? That's like, I'd be like, no, you're not boxing.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And look what it did to Conor. Like, it completely derailed Conor's career. Sure, he made $100 million fighting Floyd Mayweather. Sure, it made him a huge star. I'm sure he would do it all over again if he could do it again. But the reality is, you go back to the Conor that beat Eddie Alvarez, that Conor was a motherfucker.
What a Conor. Yeah.
He was a motherfucker, dude.
I wish we had that guy still, man.
I watched that finishing combination again today.
The Eddie Alvarez one?
Yeah.
Me
where
too.
Eddie's punch
in slow motion? Did you watch it in slow motion?
Yeah.
It's the fucking algorithm.
And Conor's got his eyes wide
open. Look.
Look at the punch comes to his nose.
Touches the nose.
And look
Clean.
at this counter. This counter's so nice.
Bing.
Oh my God, right behind the ear. It's a perfect counter. It just rocks Eddie. The timing.
Look at that, dude. He didn't even break eye contact. He's still looking at him.
And then the right hook. Look at this. Bang. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's
so crazy that got fed to me on my way here.
Yeah,
like
that's crazy.
Popped up
well, this
randomly.
has been going around today. Yeah, Prime McGregor was so smooth. Look at that. I'm even smoother now, he says.
Yeah.
I wish that was true.
Yeah, same, dude. Damn.
Yeah, I wish that was true. But, I mean, maybe he is. Maybe he is, and we just need to see him fight again. You know, it's been a couple of years.
I really hope so. Like,
I hope
I'd
so,
love
too.
to be able to still get the feeling of seeing Conor do amazing shit. You know?
And, by the way, I fully support him pulling out of that fight.
Yeah, dude.
Don't fight with a broken toe.
No, that's crazy. Like, people
Yeah.
say toe, like, whatever. It's people that are going to talk their shit. But, like, dude, you stub your toe and you're crying about it for 5 minutes. So imagine having a broken toe.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's not, yeah. And,
But meanwhile, when Alex fought Jamal, apparently he had a broken toe.
what was it, broken, or
It
was
was broken.
Really?
He had a broken pinky toe going into that fight.
It going into it?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, well... Shama. Hey, I mean, Shama. That's all I can say to that.
He's ready to go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Is he the guy that you think about when you train?
Yeah. 100%. It's like okay, when I started MMA, I had a dream. I had a dream of meeting Anderson Silva, and that dream came true. Like, I just had a feeling, I had a dream. I'm like, man, I want to meet this guy. I want to fight this guy, something. I just want to be involved with this guy. Met him, lived with him, was in his wedding, you know, like all that stuff. And like, okay, cool. And since then, I haven't had a real, like a dream, like a vivid dream until I started seeing Pereira come into the light heavyweight division and, you know, all of these things. And like now, yeah, I have a dream. And like my dream is to put on like a very, very memorable fight against this guy. Like something that like no matter what, the fans are going to fucking love it. It's going to be memorable. It's going to hopefully go down in the Hall of Fame one day, you know, like something like that, you know, like it's, so yeah, it's the guy that I think about at the moment and, you know, and my motivation to train and to get better and to be a better person, to be a better man. It's like I'm fucking grateful for the guy in a way. You know what I mean? Like it's not a disrespect thing. It's more of like, fuck yeah, thank you for giving me something to like wake up for every morning. You know?
For being so dominant.
Yeah,
that is the
so
thing
dominant.
about when you have an incredible champion. It really does make everyone inspired. It makes people rise.
Yeah,
it makes their skills. Did you ever watch Vahitov fight in Glory?
No.
Artem Vahitov is the last guy to beat Alex in Glory, and he's nasty.
Okay.
He's this Russian kickboxer. He's really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
Super technical.
Those kickboxers are crazy, dude.
Yeah. Glory is the most, in my opinion, it's the most underrated and underappreciated of all the combat sports because the level that those guys are fighting at is so high.
Yeah, I remember when I listened to your episode with Ngannou when you were talking about Cedric Doumbé.
Yes.
I mean, I trained with him a little bit when I was living in Europe, and I walked into this gym. Joe, I'm not even lying, dude. I probably trained there twice, and I was like, I can't. I'm not fucking built for this. At that time, like at that time, I was still young. Like this was, I think it was could have been, it was around the Gokhan Saki fight, maybe before or after. But I walked into this gym in Belgium, and it was just full of dogs. And Cedric was there, and he was training. And the way that these guys were just drilling, I was fucked up. My legs, my arms, because they're blocking and their offense-defense drills are full speed. You know what I mean? Big gloves, shin guards, but they're like, wah, 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 bang! And then back and forth and back and forth and
Full
back
speed.
and forth. Full speed, back and forth. And it's just nonstop. I think the class was like an hour and a half, or their training session was like an hour and a half, something like that. And I remember leaving and walking home in the cold, and I was just like, I'm supposed to fucking, you know? And they knew, like, oh, this guy's a UFC fighter, blah, blah, blah. So, like, I was like, fuck, I have to show up tomorrow. I fucking told them that I came here to train. I came all the way to Belgium to train. Show up the next day or whatever, a couple days later, do it again. And I'm like, dude, I don't think I can come back. Like, fuck this. Like,
wow.
So the way that these guys are training that are, like, aspiring glory fighters and, you know, current glory fighters, it's a different level, man.
Wow.
It's a different level of ability, of, like, what they can take. You know what I mean? Like, just like pain tolerance and just like their routine and just what they're conditioned for now. Yeah, it's
What's
a
the
whole
difference
different
between the way they train and the way the Thais train?
Okay, so I'd say like Thais don't necessarily spar hard at all. I don't know of a place that I haven't seen Thais like full on spar. It's very like lighthearted and more like playful and skill and things like that. A lot more bag work, a lot more attention to balance and defense. And then on the pads, it's a lot less combinations. Like, it's not like it's not like that.
Really?
So that's why it's very cringe to me when I come back to America and I see these guys who are teaching Muay Thai, and it's like these 7-punch combinations. Just because it's punching and kicking and you're throwing in knees and elbows doesn't make it Muay Thai. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the same essence, in my opinion.
So how do they hold pads over there? Like, what are the combinations
so like, for instance, like when I was training, my trainer, it's more of like he's drawing out what he kind of wants to see from me based off of my position and like how I'm standing and where I'm standing. So he'll have his distance, and he'll kind of sometimes he won't even really tell me what to do. He'll just kind of like insinuate like body kick, boom, and then however I land, then maybe he'll hold the right hand, and then boom, however I land after that, maybe he'll hold the hook, and then from the hook, and then maybe he'll hold the leg kick. But it kind of depends on, like, where am I at?
Right.
You know, like, what's my position? He's not like, okay, jab, cross, hook, low kick, elp. It's more based off of your fighter. How does your fighter flow?
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, in that distance, if he's, like, if he just, like, because my trainers didn't speak English at all. I had to kind of, like, learn to adapt. So he would just be, like, kind of, like, doing this, like, okay, slow down, relax, calm. So I'm like, okay, relax. And then he'll quickly like that, and then I have to kick, boom, and then he'll be like 2, and I'm like, boom, boom, and then he'll like, okay, relax, punch, boom, elbow, boom, like it's just kind of calling out these reactions, not giving me this like 8-punch combo, 4-punch combo. Okay, in with no. It's just a lot more instinct. It's a lot more like stay calm, stay relaxed, and when you attack, I don't want to see that you're about to attack me. I need it to come quick and like. And I need you to go right back to a relaxed. Yeah, I need to go right back to a relaxed position. You know.
And so, do you feel like this kind of pad holding is more applicable for an actual fight, like developing skills?
I think so. I mean, like, especially if you want to kick or punch or do anything at like a full power.
Right.
Because I do notice that like from the Thai pad work, that's where you practice your power. That's where like the on the bag and on the pads, it's more power.
Right.
It's less like boxing is more like focus mitts. You don't really do power with boxing on mitts, but with Muay Thai, it's like this is my chance to be like how effective is my left kick at 100%. You know,
right.
And I'm like trusting this guy to be able to catch it for me. So I prefer it. I prefer the true essence and the true martial art of Muay Thai because it's when you kind of understand it and when you've kind of learned it from, you know, like just different traditions and like different lineages, it's like you can pick up on things that you're like, okay, now, okay, yeah, this is I can fucking ruin someone. You know what I mean? Like if I like relax right here and I'm standing just like an arm's length of this guy and I just want to really blast a kick and be on balance, I could ruin this guy, you know?
You also were telling me that they changed the way you were kicking.
Yeah. So everyone has their own way. It's like if you go to a jiu-jitsu school and like an arm bar is an arm bar, but people have different ways of like setting it up or more effective to get it. The biggest thing that kind of helped me was, for one, like a lot of people when they kick, they lean back to kind of counterbalance that weight. And my trainer always told me, like he always had me like drive my pressure forward. I actually wish that I was fucking training with you while I was here. Side note, I was like, damn, dude, I'm sick to show some stuff to Rogan. But anyway, he was showing me like
Next time.
Yeah.
I got a whole gym here.
Yeah, I saw it. It's probably way better now than
it's
like
crazy.
because you had just moved in here. But kind of like this more like forward projection. So like all of my weight and plus the kick moving forward versus standing stationary, lifting my and going backward.
Right.
You know, like there's like a no tilting. The turning of the hips, like kicking with the shin and not the foot. Like, so there's a lot of little details that go into like making these things happen, you know? And also the speed of the kick, like a big problem that I see in MMA for sure is that like, man, I can see kicks coming from a mile away.
Right.
Because there's just so much, just to get your leg up, you should just be able to fucking whip it and it still be as powerful and as effective.
Yeah, you were saying something about the smoothness of they taught you how to relax more when you're throwing kicks?
You have to relax. Like the kicks, the leg is the heaviest limb on the body, you know? And just like if you want to knock someone out, you don't want to want to tense up first. You got to be relaxed. It's got to be swift. So it's kind of like, in order to lift your leg to throw it at a full speed for it to be accurate, you got to be relaxed. You have to.
And how much of that is like when you're training? How much of your training when you're working on technique is kicking the bag? How much of it is kicking pads? How much of it is kicking the air?
Okay, so I kick the bag a lot. I just have a bag in my house, and everything's usually like slow, just getting my body to move and comfortable with lifting my leg, and it just be effortless.
Just the technique.
Yeah, just the technique and like the flow and like the feeling.
And when you do it at home, like how much warm up do you do before you do anything like that?
It kind of is my warm up.
So you just do it lightly?
I do it lightly until my intensity picks up and until I'm like, okay, I'm fucking tired.
Right.
You know, so I'll start off really slow. I posted like a video the other day. It's like of my routine. Like I put on this music, like Thai country.
Oh, let me see it.
Yeah, it's actually, if you pull that up, you'll see like that's kind of my daily, my daily routine. So I'd say a lot of my training, like probably 60% is just like shadow boxing, light bag work, working on balance. Yeah.
So just nice.
So see, like,
light. What are you listening to?
Oh, put it on. That's like the classic.
Thai music.
Yeah. So trying not, like, even here, I'm trying not to lean my head back and try to keep more of like a station, like a straight up and down posture while throwing the kick. It's very hard, but it's like as you practice it, it only makes the kicks a little bit more effective.
So this is at your house?
Yeah, this is just
How
like in my
heavy
garage.
is your bag?
130.
And so you're just setting stuff up.
Yeah, just setting
you're
stuff
just touching
up.
it.
Yeah, just touch, because like I need to know that I can touch it before I want to blast it.
And so that's how you warm up. You warm up just gently.
I just do that until I end up like
really
going
sweaty,
fucking hard on the bag.
Right,
you know,
right,
until
right.
I feel like, okay, I've done this motion enough to where now I can release at 120%. I can just fucking.
Do you do a lot of stretching?
Yeah, I spend probably 3 to 4 hours a day stretching.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's like one of my hobbies. I love it. Like, if I'm not, okay, so when I wake up in the morning, I'll say like sparring. Say I have sparring at 11:30. I get to the gym by 9, and I'm stretching for 2 hours.
Wow.
I use Olympic rings. I love stretching on Olympic rings. I'll put them so I hang them at a nice height, and I'll put my arms through, and they're just like kind of here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like flexing down, and it kind of helps elongate my spine.
Oh,
I'm practicing
decompressing.
Decompressing.
Oh.
I'll put it like on the like under my elbow here, and I'll kind of like do like the iron cross and just kind of. I do a lot of just different like unique type of stretches, and I do them every single day, and I just want to make sure that like my body feels as free as possible. I hate tightness. I fucking hate it. My lower back's so tight right now, and I hate it. You know, like that's just one of the.
Oh, I got some shit I could show you for that.
Please, yeah.
Yeah, that's some cool shit here.
So yeah, like I'd say a lot of my time in a day is spent stretching.
That's crazy. 3 to 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours a day, man.
That's nuts.
Like sometimes it's 2 hours, and then I'll go train, and then later like an hour before I go to bed. You know, but. Yeah, a lot of my time, my fucking wife was like, "Oh, where's he at in the garage, fucking stretching?" You know what I mean? Like,
well, it kind of makes sense though when you think about how free you are when you're fighting. Like everything is so fast,
gotta
and
be relaxed.
fluid. Yes,
Gotta be relaxed,
and you have to be loose to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to guys who aren't flexible. Like I was trying to explain, I was trying to show someone some guard technique. A guy was fighting in the I don't want to say his name, and I was like, so when you're in this position here, I was showing him how to use a rubber guard. I'm like, so I'm in control here, and he's like, I can't get my leg up right there. I'm like, what do you mean you can't get your leg up right there?
It sucks.
He's like, I don't have any flexibility. I'm like, do you stretch?
Yeah.
He's like, no. I'm like, you don't stretch. You're a world-class fighter, and you don't stretch.
Yeah.
I'm an old comedian, and I'm showing you that I can do this. This is crazy. You should be able to do this.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a thing that's hard to do.
Rubber guard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, especially right now, it'd be really hard for me to do rubber guard. But
why?
Okay, so the other day I was working out. I do these like Saturday workouts. I invite my friends. We do like a kind of boot camp, like circuit thing, just something for me to stay active and to invite my friends to come, you know, enjoy a healthy lifestyle. I have a friend who's older guy, and he was doing amazing air squats. And I was like, just banter. I was like, you call that a squat? Anybody in their right mind would have known, like, yeah, this is a good fucking squat, you know? But for some reason, I don't know what's going on that day, but he took it personally. And he was like, what? You have the worst fucking squats in here. You fucking... And just like blew up on me, and I was like, whoa, dude. Didn't know we were going that route. But since you want to fucking... You know what I mean? Since you want to test the waters... And then I just started fucking air squatting like a maniac and bust out like 80 air squats. Like my asshole almost touched the ground. You know, right. I'm just like going full speed. And then like I was kind of like rubbed the wrong way. So I just went hard and I wasn't really thinking about posture or technique or anything. And I kind of tweaked my back a little bit. And then that wasn't the end of the workout. We still had to go and burn 1,000 calories on the assault bike.
Oh no.
So then I hop on the bike and I'm full blast, you know, like
your back's all
40
tight.
miles an hour, just, and it kept hurting. And I was like, I'm not going to show these guys that I'm hurt. I'm a dog, you know, as I get back on. And by the end of the workout, like, I mean, for the past like 3 days, it's been real hard.
Wow.
Real hard. So my lower back right now. And then the day after that, I went and I have to swing the golf club like at least 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Jamie has one of those things out here.
Yeah, simulator. He
Have
told
you seen
me
that thing?
Yeah.
Jamie's a nut. He's out there all the time whacking balls. Yeah, that would definitely inhibit your rubber guard. But normally you could probably do it, right?
Yeah. Normally, yeah.
You should be able to do that.
Yeah.
It's like if you're on your back, it's a regardless of what people think, it's a very effective technique.
Yeah.
And I've put people in it. I'm like, get out.
Yeah.
Here, let me hold you in there. Try to get out.
Not on the topic of rubber guard, but after we're done with this, I'm going to show you this 6 sweep thing that I'm working on.
Oh, okay.
It's like, it's really cool. I'm going to show it to you, and then when you see me do it in a fight, you're like, holy shit.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, it's
I'm excited.
unseen, unheard of, and it's a mixture of like what I've learned, like some Muay Thai concepts and Muay Thai concepts and like methods mixed with what I've been learning in my jiu-jitsu, because I'm training with a guy who's a black belt under Damian Maya. And so a lot of the jiu-jitsu stuff that I'm learning from him is amazingly effective, especially for my mentality and like my body style. So like in my off time and in my stretching and just my artistic mind, I was like, how do I blend these two together? Wow. Got it. Fucked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
so you got an idea.
It's sick.
Nice.
It's sick. And
How much time do you spend boxing?
I don't box a lot. Yeah, I'd say like my pad work, like my MMA pad work is a lot of hands, not necessarily like boxing, just kind of like MMA boxing. But I mean, I would love to do more boxing. I just noticed that when I focus on boxing, like I have in the past, I just get a little bit more flat-footed. You know, and because of my nature and my spirit, I'm just willing to stand and bang, like, and just
right.
You know, and I'm like waiting on counters, and I'm waiting to roll, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna just wait right here, and I'm gonna slip and react and counter. But so it sometimes can put me in a little bit of a bad position. But if I find the right boxing trainer that kind of understands MMA and understands my style, I could see it being effective, but I haven't found that yet.
So you just put it all together.
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, listen, man, I'm bummed out that you're going through all this bullshit, but I'm really excited to see you back in there, man.
Thanks.
I really, really am, especially after the Anthony. Well, I've been a fan for a long time, but the Anthony Smith fight was like, it shows me that you're right there. You're right there.
No,
I hope,
thanks.
Jeff sorted out. Everybody in Nevada State Athletic Commission sorted out.
Yeah.
And
hopefully you can call the next one too, right?
Oh,
The
I
comeback
hope so.
fight. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I hope so. I really do. It's always great talking to you, brother.
Same.
And tell everybody your Instagram, social media, where people can find you.
Find me on Instagram, Khalil Rountree, just my first and last name. That's all I got right now. Working on a website.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, I want to work on a website and just get a little bit more, give some more content. Interact with like fans and stuff in a whole different way. Possibly, start to provide more videos and just some more interaction. So all that's a process, but for now, just hit me up on Instagram.
Beautiful.
That's about it.
All right, let's go to the gym. I'm going to show you some
Let's do
shit.
it.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Later.